Welcome to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. A pleasant hello and good afternoon, my friends, from San Angelo, Texas. We are at Lakeview High School today from the Lakeview baseball field as we have 4A Region 1-3 district play on this Saturday afternoon on this matinee as the Lakeview Chiefs, they come into today's game with a mark of 3-8-1. As for Lakeview, they have lost 4 games in a row as they'll take on the Sweetwater Mustangs as they have a record of 4-10-1, and they won on Thursday, which snapped their 5-game losing skid. As for the Chiefs, they're led by first-year head coach Gerardo Bueno. As for Lakeview, they lost on Thursday to Big Spring by a score of 10-3. And for Sweetwater, they defeated Snyder on Thursday by a count of 9-8. A pleasant hello and good afternoon, my friends, on Concho Sports Network, as we are also here with our producer and director, Shay Harris of Concho Sports. As for the Lakeview Chiefs, trying to get a win here in district play on this Saturday afternoon against Sweetwater. So while we have a moment, let's give you today's starting lineups. First for the road Sweetwater Mustangs coming into town today as they're led by third-year head coach Chad Copeland. Leading off at center field is Darian Carr. Batting second in left field is Hector Martinez. Hitting third as the pitcher is Leo Hulsey. Batting fourth at third base is Tate Thompson. Hitting fifth and shortstop is Christian Gomez. Batting sixth in right field is Jake McCoy. Batting seventh as the first baseman is A.J. Fearson. Batting eighth as the catcher is Seth Garcia. And hitting ninth at second base is Brendan Atkins for Sweetwater, as they'll be working against for the Lakeview defense. As for the Chiefs, they will have on the hill, they'll have starting pitcher today, Jacob Chapa. Chapa will make his first start of the year. Chapa, he pitched in had 9 pitches in relief on Thursday. And for the Chiefs, they're looking for a strong appearance here today for Jacob Chapa. So we're ready to begin. As for Sweetwater, they are the road team dressed in their red jerseys. Darian Carr climbs into the batter's box. And here's the first pitch of the afternoon. It's a fastball up and in for ball 1. And we're here for Saturday afternoon baseball, as the first pitch is at 12 o'clock exactly Central Standard Time. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball is low and away for ball 2. We have 320 down the left and the right field lines and 390 in straightaway center. Here is the 2-0 pitch. A breaking ball is a called strike at the inside edge. 2 balls and a strike is the count. Glad that you're with us this afternoon on a beautiful day here in San Angelo. There's the 2-1. Swing and a pop fly out of play behind home plate. And the count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As for the Chiefs, now in a 4-game losing skid, trying to get off the snide here this afternoon with a game here at home. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fastball sails up and in, and the count runs full to Darian Carr, the center fielder, to lead things off for Sweetwater. As for the Mustangs, this is a team they have struggled on offense this season. Here's the full count pitch. Swing and a miss as Carr strikes out swinging. Man, out number 1 for the Mustangs in this top of the first. So Jacob Chapa strikes out Darian Carr. 1 out, bases empty here in the Sweetwater first, and this brings up Hector Martinez, the left fielder. Martinez climbs into the left side of the batter's box here. Open stance. 1 out, nobody on, just underway, no score. And the fastball sails low and away, ball 1. Let's give you the defense for Lakeview. Henry's in left, Herrera is in center field, and Murray is the right fielder. As Jacob Chapa works from the stretch as he brings home the 1-0 pitch, swinging a high pop fly into shallow left center field, but the shortstop is there, Bustamante, as he makes the grab. 2 out, and the Mustangs first. The infield for Lakeview, Oberjon. Oberjon is at third. Bustamante is the shortstop who made that catch moments ago. Carfron is at second. High is the first baseman. And Palacio is the catcher. His nickname is Peanut. And Chapa is the pitcher. So 2 outs here in this top half of the first. No score for Leo Holsey, the pitcher. On the first pitch as he hits a pop fly, and that will go out of play. Leo Holsey, the pitcher for Sweetwater, is also the quarterback for the Mustangs. He's an all-purpose athlete as he threw for over 20 touchdown passes at the quarterback for Sweetwater during football season. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swinging a bouncing ball to the third baseman. Obergeron picks it up, and he's unable to make the throw, and Holsey is safe at first base. So the third baseman, Obergeron, could not come up with the baseball there. And now for Sweetwater, they have a runner on first base. With 2 outs, here now is Tate Thompson, the third baseman. Thompson is a right-handed batter. Should be perhaps a ruled as an error on the third baseman. So here's the pitch. A breaking ball is blown away for ball 1. So an error, E5. Error on the third baseman for Lakeview. 2 outs, runner on first to Tate Thompson, the third baseman. No score. Working against Jacob Chapa. Quick throw to first as Holsey dives back to the bag on his hands and knees. As for the Chiefs, with this 3-8 record on the season, they lost a Big Spring on Thursday, 10-3. 2 outs, runner on. Here is the 1-0 pitch. And that's an all-speed delivery, low and away, 2 balls and no strikes. Glad that you're with us here from Lakeview Baseball Field on a beautiful day on this Saturday afternoon. Well, it has been spring break here for the Scholars in San Angelo. Here's the 2-0 pitch, swinging a ground ball to the third baseman, and a quick throw over to second to in time for the out to retire his side. So for Sweetwater in the first, no runs, no hits, and nobody left. At the end of a half inning, it is Sweetwater 0, and for Lakeview coming up the bat. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. One man left.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo R.
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. To recap, Sweetwater in that top half of the first, no runs on no hits, 1 error by the Lakeview third baseman, and 1 runner left. That was Holsey, as he was left stranded at first base to retire the side. So for Lakeview, as Jacob Chapa retired 3 out of 4 Sweetwater batters there in the top half of the first. So now we'll go into the last half of the first for Lakeview. It'll be Jacob Chapa. He will lead things off. So let's give you the Lakeview starting lineups. Leading off as the pitcher is Jacob Chapa. He retired 3 out of 4 Sweetwater batters in the first. Batting second as the second baseman is Joseph Cafron. Hitting third as the designated hitter is Kate Henry. Hitting fourth at first base is Cody High. So here now is Jacob Chapa as he climbs into the right side of the dish. Obergeron is batting fifth as the third baseman. Wyatt Henry hits sixth as the left fielder. Bustamante bats seventh as the shortstop. Lucas Murray hits eighth in right field, and Brandon Herrera is the center fielder. He bats ninth. Here's the first pitch offered by Leo Holsey, and that is in there for a called strike to Jacob Chapa. As Chapa is the pitcher for Lakeview, pitcher against pitcher here. And here is the 0-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball up the third base line, which will go in for a base hit into left field. So Jacob Chapa with the game's first hit as he chops the baseball past the third base line into left field. So for Lakeview, they get an opening hit. Jacob Chapa will lead it off for Lakeview with a single. So this brings up the second baseman, Joseph Cafron. Cafron is a right-handed batter, just underway, no score in this bottom half of the first. As Cafron, as he takes the first pitch, is low and inside for ball one. As we'll quickly review the Sweetwater defense, Martinez is in left, Carr is the center fielder, and McCoy is in right. Thompson is the third baseman. Gomez is the shortstop. Here's the 1-0 pitch, which is lifted down the right field line. Bending foul. It gets past McCoy, too far for him, and the count's even at a ball and a strike. Thompson is the third baseman. Gomez is at short. Atkins is the second baseman. And Ferguson is the first baseman, and Garcia is behind the plate. So 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to the second baseman, Joseph Cafron, for Lakeview with a runner on first base, no score in this last half of the first. And here's a breaking ball, which is upstairs for a ball as Cafron squares up the bunt. As for the Chiefs, they have scored 65 runs in their 12 games this season, so they have averaged 5.41 runs per game on offense. But on the defensive side, they have allowed 82 runs this year, which is an average of 6.83 runs per game. 2 balls and a strike is the count to the second baseman, Cafron, as he chops a bunt in front of the mound, fielded by Hosley, throws over the first in time for the out. 1-3 on the play for the Sweetwater defense as Chapa advances to second base. So this brings up the designated hitter, Cade Henry. 1-3 as we take a look at that replay. So for the Chiefs, they now have a runner in scoring position, as Cade Henry is the designated hitter, is a left-handed batter. As the Chiefs, they are led by first-year head coach Geraldo Bueno. No score in the last half of the first. 1 out, just getting started here. Lakeview in their first at-bat. There goes the runner, and the pitch is low, and not a throw as Jacob Chapa, as he slides into third base. So now for Lakeview, as they have a runner on third base, and 1-0 is the count to Cade Henry. As for the Chiefs, they began the season with a 4-game losing streak. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball is outside, 2 balls and no strikes. As Cody Hyde, the first baseman, waits on deck. Well, Leo Hosley, the pitcher for Sweetwater, is also a third-year starter on the football team. The all-star quarterback. Here's the 2-0 pitch, is in there for a called strike with the fastball, 2 balls and a strike. Hosley was an all-state honorable mention football player. He threw for over 20 touchdowns and over 2,000 yards. And the Sweetwater football team played Lakeview during the football season, as Sweetwater won handsomely in that game against the Chiefs at San Angelo Stadium. Here's the 2-1 pitch, is fouled back over the screen, and the count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As for Hosley, he had a superb game, a game in which we called actually on Concho Sports with legendary Lakeview former football coach Jim Slaughter. And we say hi to Coach Slaughter. He's probably on the golf course today. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Cade Henry with a runner on third base. And here's the 2-2. And that is a breaking ball, low and inside, and that runs the count full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. 320 down the left and the right field lines, and 390 in straightaway center field here at the Lakeview baseball field. Here's the 3-2 pitch with 1 out, and that goes all the way to the backstop for ball 4, and all scoring is Jacob Chapa. And for the Chiefs, they take an early 1-0 lead as Cade Henry is now at first base. So the pitch was low and away from Garcia, which goes to the backstop, and scoring from third base is Jacob Chapa. And for Lakeview, they now have the first run of the game. They strike first as the Chiefs with an early 1-0 lead. Here comes first baseman Cody High as he climbs into the right side of the batter's box. So 1-0 is our score as the Chiefs with an early lead here in the first with one out. There's the first pitch, which is low and inside to High for ball one. Well, for Lakeview, the most runs they have scored in the game all season was 15 in their 11-run win against Alpine back on March the 5th. And now here's the 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike. As Cody High is the batter for Lakeview. So for the Chiefs in this first inning, they have pushed a run across with only one out. Henry's on first due to the walk as Jacob Chapo led it off with a single to left, stole second, and also stole third. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Fastball's a caught strike. And the count is now 2 balls and a strike to Cody High. As for Cody High, he also played on the football team for the Chiefs as a lineman. Here's the breaking ball. It's low and away. And the count now runs to 3 balls and a strike. No, rather 2 balls and 2 strikes as we get from the home plate umpire. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing of the ground ball, base hit into right field as Henry scoots around second and will go to third base. So for Cody High with a single to right field, which advances Cade Henry to third base. And for the Chiefs now, they now have 2 hits in this frame, and this brings up the third baseman, Oscar Oberzon. Oberzon now comes to the plate now with Lakeview with a 1-0 lead. In the last half of the first, runners now at the corners with 1 out. Working against Leo Holsey. Holsey has not had a decision yet this season. And there's a quick throw to first, and High is back standing. Lakeview with a good start here today as they lead 1-0. And they have 1 run on 2 hits, but have runners at first and third, 1 out for the Chiefs' third baseman. As the fans come into Lakeview baseball field on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, and here's the first pitch, and that is upstairs for ball one. Jacob Chapo led it off with a single to left, stole second and stole third. Coffron grounded out to the pitcher on the comebacker. Cade Henry walked. High single to right field. Here's the 1-0 pitch, sails up and in, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, head coach Bueno was in his first year for Lakeview. He also was a coach at Pecos. He played professional ball in the Mexican League and played his college ball at Houston Baptist and was a standout high school player at Andrews High School. 2 balls and no strikes is the count. Here's the 2-0 deliveries in there for a called strike down the pipe. 2 balls and a strike is the count. Last half of the first, 1 out, runners at the corners. As for Lakeview, trying to get and they have had a quick start here this afternoon against the Mustangs. Here's the 2-1 pitch, which gets away from the catcher, Garcia, and the runner scores from third. That's Henry, and it's now 2-0 Lakeview. And advancing to second base is Cody High. So that brings up now 3 balls and a strike to Oberjan. As now for Lakeview, they have 2 runs in this last half of the first as Cody High is now at second base. From the stretch, here's the 3-1 pitch, swinging a fly ball into center field as Carr makes the catch for out number 2, and High holds at second base. So fly out to Carr in center field, 8 unassisted. There are now 2 outs in this last half of the first, and this brings up the left fielder, Wyatt Henry. So for Lakeview in this frame, 2 runs on 2 hits. as high is still at second, and here is Wyatt Henry, the left fielder. And here's the first pitch, and that one hops in front of the plate for ball one. Well, Coach Bueno, he said that his goals for this program is for his players to reach their full potential and to be good citizens, and he said that the wins will come. There's a throw down to second, which goes into the outfield, and advancing to third base is Cody High. So an errant throw there by Holsey, which goes into center field. And now for Lakeview, they have a runner at third base. 1-0 is the count. So surprisingly why Holsey decided to make that throw over to second base with 2 outs. But nonetheless, advantage there for Lakeview as they have Cody High at third base. Here is the 1-0 pitch, and it's a breaking ball called strike, and it counts even at a ball and 1 strike in this last half of the first. 2 outs, runner at third, Lakeview with an early 2-0 lead. We are live from the Lakeview baseball field, from the campus of Lakeview High School. Here is the 1-1 pitch. Fastball sails up and in at the letters, and it's now 2 balls and a strike. Well, for the Mustangs, they lost to Levelland on Tuesday, 16-5. But Levelland in that game, they scored 12 runs in the top of the 7th to blow the game wide open. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball is a called strike down the heart of the plate, and the count's now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Great crowd on hand today on this Saturday afternoon for baseball, so pull up a chair, come on out, and watch some great baseball here as the Lakeview Chiefs here at home. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Henry. Here's the pitch from Holsey. And swing and a miss, foul tip at the plate there. And the count remains even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. As Nicholas Bustamante, the shortstop, waits on deck for the Chiefs. As Lakeview with an early 2-0 advantage over the Sweetwater Mustangs, who come into today's game with a 4-10-1 mark. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Off-speed delivery, low and away, and the count runs full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. And we have several scholars here from Lakeview working in the press box this afternoon, so we thank them for all of their help working the scorers table. 3 balls and 2 strikes is the count. And here's the pitch from Holsey, fouled back to the screen, as the scholars had their spring break week here in San Angelo. So I know they're eagerly looking forward to getting back into the classroom on Monday when classes resume here in San Angelo. A very unusual semester for the scholars with the weather situation. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Fastball is up and away, ball 4. And that is the second walk issued by Hosley. 2-out walk, and now this brings up the shortstop, Nicholas Bustamante, with 2 outs, and with Lakeview leading by a score of 2-0. Bustamante now goes into the left side of the batter's box with an open stance. Runners at the corners. Lakeview leading 2-0. And the first pitch is in there for a called strike. As for Sweetwater, they are the road team today, dressed in their red jerseys and the gray pants, as they defeated Snyder on Thursday 9-8 in a wild one. Here's the 0-1 pitch and a bunt and a diving catch there by the pitcher, Leo Holsey, to retire the side, but not before the Chiefs as they strike first as they collect 2 runs in the last half of the first on 2 runs on 2 hits and 2 runners left at the corners. At the end of 1 complete, our score, it is Lakeview 2 and Sweetwater 0. We'll pause for a quick break. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo RO Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. As we'll head into the top half of the second, as Gomez will lead it off for Sweetwater, the shortstop. And here is the pitch from Chapa, which is upstairs for ball one. Gomez will be followed by Jake McCoy, the right fielder, and then Ferguson, 5, 6, and 7 in the Sweetwater lineup. And here's the 1-0 pitch, which is low and away for ball two, working against Jacob Chapa, as Chapa retired 3 out of 4 batters in that first inning and also had a strikeout. But also the Lakeview defense committed an error. 3 balls and no strikes is the count to Gomez. Well, talking about Lakeview, the most runs allowed in the game was 11, and their 10-run loss to the Parrington Rangers, which was the final score was 11-1 back on February the 25th. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Fastball is up and inside ball 4, so a leadoff walk issued by Jacob Chapa as Gomez trots down the first base line. And this brings up Jake McCoy, the right fielder. Hey fans, would you like to watch Concho Sports Network games on your television live in high definition? All you have to do is install the CSN Roku or our Amazon Fire TV app. You can install them now on either device just by searching Concho Sports. We invite you to check it out for the best viewing experience. Here comes McCoy. He squares up the bunt as he bunts that one foul for strike one. As for the Chiefs, they are searching for their first win as they have lost 4 consecutive games. Meanwhile, for Sweetwater, their win on Thursday snapped a 5-game losing skid. So for the Mustangs, they now have a runner on first. Nobody out, top of the second. Here's a swing and a line drive to the shortstop. Throws over to first in time for the double play. What a great play by the shortstop, Bustamante, as McCoy lines to the shortstop as Bustamante makes the catch and fires over to first to get Gomez between first and second. So that is a double play, 6-3, twin killing, and now we have 2 outs, bases loaded. Bases empty, rather, for A.J. Ferguson. Ferguson is the first baseman for Sweetwater. In this top half of the second, bases empty. Lakeview with a 2-0 lead, as Ferguson is a left-handed batter. And now here is the pitch, which is low and away for a ball. So a great play there by Bustamante moments ago. 2 outs, bases clean. Lakeview with a 2-0 lead in the top half of the second. Swinging a high fly ball into right center field, and then a sliding catch was made by Herrera in right center field to retire the side. What a beautiful catch there by Herrera in right center field as he makes the catch over his shoulder. So 3 up and 3 down for Sweetwater in the top half of the second. 2 great plays, one by Bustamante, the shortstop, and another by Herrera. We'll go into the last half of the second with our score. It is Lakeview 2 and Sweetwater 0. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll cruise into the last half of the second, as leading off will be Lucas Murray, the right fielder. He'll be followed by Brandon Herrera, the center fielder, and then the leadoff man, Jacob Chapel. So it'll be 8-9-1 for Lakeview in this last half of the second as they lead 2-0. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, 2 runners left for Lakeview. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a runner left on base for Sweetwater. As here is Lucas Murray, as he is a right-handed batter. And here is the pitch from Leo Holsey, as he fouls that one off to the right for strike 1. As Leo Holsey, he struggled in that first inning, retired only 3 out of 7 batters as he gave up 2 runs on 2 hits in that first inning. Holsey working from the stretch and brings home the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball low and away. Ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike is to count. We'd also like to say hello to Richard Ferguson and also Scott Lambert. They are the broadcasters for the Sweetwater side on KXOX 96.7 FM. That's line foul, 1 ball and 2 strikes. They've been broadcasting Sweetwater athletic events since 1989 for the last 32 years. They broadcast football, basketball, and also baseball on KXOX 96.7. Here's the 1-2 pitch, which one hops in front of the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes since 1989, a long time, 32 years. Like to give them credit for their many years of service to the Sweetwater community. 2 balls and 2 strikes is to count to Lucas Murray, the leadoff man for Lakeview. In this last half of the second, swinging a ground ball to the first baseman as he will tap the base right in front of Murray in time for the out, 3 unassisted. As Murray grounds out to Ferguson. Ferguson, the first baseman for Sweetwater. 1 out, base is clean for Brandon Herrera, the center fielder. As Herrera gets the instructions and now will climb into the right side of the batter's box. Bottom half of the second, Lakeview with an early 2-0 advantage over the Sweetwater Mustangs. Here's the first pitch. Fastball sails up and in for ball 1. Well, for Lakeview, in their first 4 games of the season, they were outscored 32-13, but so far today, they have had a strong start leading 2-0. Here is the 1-0 pitch, fouled back to the screen. Even a count at a ball and a strike. As for that Sweetwater win on Thursday, by a score of 9-8, it snapped a season-long 5-game losing streak. As the Mustangs, they come into today's game with a 4-10-1 record. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball is low and away in the dirt. Nice scoop up there by Garcia. And the count now runs 2 balls and a strike. As Jacob Chapa waits on deck for the Chiefs, the pitcher. Here is the 2-1 pitch to her, swinging a chopper foul wide of third. Nice barehanded grab there by head coach Bueno in his first season as head coach for Lakeview. He played professional ball in the Mexican League. 2 balls and 2 strikes is to count to Brandon Herrera. And here is the 2-2 offering. And that's low and away, and the count now runs full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Talking about losing streaks, for the Mustangs of Sweetwater, they began the season on a 4-game losing skid. Here's the full count pitch to the plate. Swinging a ground ball to the shortstop, Gomez. Picks it up and fires over to first, and it's not in time. That is an infield hit. Infield hit single for Brandon Herrera, and it is now hit number 3 for Lakeview this afternoon. So Brandon Herrera beats out that throw from the shortstop, Gomez. Gomez had to field it deep in the hole, and his throw was not in time. So for Lakeview, that is the 3rd hit of the game, and that brings up Jacob Chapa. He led it off for the Chiefs in that first inning. He led off the game with a single to left field, stole second and also stole third, and later scored. As he chops that one foul to the left, and strike one is at the call. 0-1 is the count to Jacob Chapa. As for Lakeview, 2 runs on 3 hits in this game, and Sweetwater, they're searching for their first hit of the game as they trail 2-0. Here's the 0-1 pitch. There goes the runner off the mid of Garcia, and advancing to second base is Brandon Herrera. So 1 ball and 1 strike is to count to Chapa, and Herrera is safe at second base. As for the Chiefs, they now have a runner in scoring position for the 2nd consecutive inning, trying to tack on more here against this Sweetwater squad. 1 ball, 1 strike is to count to Chapa. Here's the pitch. Lifted into center field, and that will go into the alley. And rounding third base is Herrera. He's being waved on home. He will score, and the Chiefs now lead it 3-0. And now stopping at third base is Chapa. So give Chapa an RBI triple to deep right field, and that scores Brandon Herrera. And the Chiefs now lead by a count of 3-0. And also for Lakeview, that is now hit number 4 in the game. So what a blast there by Jacob Chapa. An RBI triple into right center field, which scores Herrera. And the Chiefs now have increased their lead. It's now 3-0. Here is Joseph Coffron, the second baseman, to the plate. Coffron is the grounded out to the pitcher, Holsey, on the comebacker, back in the first. So now for Lakeview, leading by a count of 3-0. There's Coffron now. He is a right-handed batter. And here is the first pitch. Fastball is up and in for ball 1. So for the Chiefs now, 3 runs on 4 hits in this contest. We're only in the last half of the second. Only 1 out. Runner on third. As Holsey has struggled today, as here's the 1-0 pitch. That's in there for a called strike, and it counts even at 1 ball and 1 strike. As for Lakeview, trying to snap their 4-game losing skid on a great start here today. Here's the 1-1. 1 hops in front of the plate. Nice scoop up by Garcia, and the count's now 2 balls and a strike. Chapa's at third. He tripled to right, which scored Brandon Herrera earlier in this frame. And the Chiefs now with this 3-run advantage on 4 hits in this contest. As Holsey is trying to work out of an early jam and the bunt up the first base line. And that will score Chapa from third base, and Lakeview now with a 4-0 lead and the 5th hit of the game. So an RBI bunt single for Coffron, the second baseman, which scores Chapa, and it's now 4-0 Lakeview. Now it looks like that Chapa's going back to third base, so it looks like they'll say, if we're correct, looks like it was that for Coffron, he'll now be the batter, as they were the officials are talking things over there at near the mound. So it looks like it will be a foul ball if we are correct. So if that's the case, that means that Chapa will go back to third and Coffron will go back to the plate. So it's still 3-0. And for Lakeview, now with 4 hits instead of 5. So we'll cross off that RBI for Coffron for the moment. We'll see what he'll be able to do here. It was 2 balls and a strike to count to Coffron here in this last half of the second. We have 1 out. Lakeview leading now So it appears that Carfron will go back to the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike is the count. The score is 3-0. And here's the pitch. And that's in there for a called strike. So that was an inside breaking ball in there for a strike. And the counts now as for Carfron, he strikes out. So Carfron strikes out looking, and there are 2 outs in the frame with a runner at third base, which is Chapa, and this brings up Cade Henry, the designated hitter. So the score is 3-0, not 4-0, as Cade Henry is the batter, and he takes outside for ball 1.
Oh, you don't know how to.
So Henry, in the first, he walked and scored in the first. As Henry is a left-handed batter. Lakeview leading 3-0. Now here is the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball is low and inside. The count's even at the ball and a strike. Cade Henry walked and scored in the first inning. So for Lakeview, Chapa, Henry, and also Herrera, they have scored in this game. Chapa is at third base. Here is the 1-1 pitch to the plate. Chopped foul off to the right, and it's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. As for Leo Holsey, he has struggled in this game as 3 runs have been pushed across early in the game. Cade Henry working on a 1 ball and 2 strike count in this last half of the second. And here's the pitch. Fastball sails upstairs, and the count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cody High, the first baseman, waits on deck for Lakeview. As for the Chiefs, 3-8-1 on the season as they are searching to snap their 4-game losing skid. And here is the 2-2 pitch, and that's in there for a called strike. Now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes now as we get the signals from the home plate umpire. So it's full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Cade Henry. Holsey from the stretch. And here is the 3-2 pitch. That's line foul behind home plate. And the count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So in the meantime, we'll take a look at we'll get the signals as far as the pitch count from the home plate umpire here. 3 balls and 2 strikes is the count as Cade Henry is at the plate working against Leo Holsey. Holsey, he has worked in relief so far this season, has not had a decision. Here's the full count pitch. Breaking ball is low and inside, and that's ball 4. So that is a walk issued by Holsey. That is now walk number 2 in the game allowed by Holsey. So now for Lakeview, they have runners at the corners for Cody High. Cody High, the first baseman, he singled to right in the first but was left stranded at third. So in this frame, Lakeview with 1 run and 2 hits. Here is Cody High at the plate. First pitch is in there for a strike. 0-1 is the count to Cody High. High is 1 for 1 this afternoon. Lakeview leading by a score of 3-0. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swinging a chopper to the shortstop, fielded by Gomez. Throws it over the first, and that is not in time. That's an infield hit single as Chapa scores to make it 4-0. So give Cody High a single and an RBI and a hit for Lakeview, hit number 5, and they now lead by a score of 4-0. So for Lakeview, 4 runs on 5 hits in this game and an RBI for Cody High. And this brings up the third baseman, Oscar Oberson. Oberson, the third baseman, he is 0 for 1, flat out to center field in the first. 4-0 is our score. Here's the first pitch, is a fastball, which is inside for ball 1. Oberson, 0 for 1 today. So for Lakeview, they have scored 2 runs and 2 hits in this stanza. 1-0 is the count to the Lakeview third baseman. Right-handed batter, and the 1-0 pitch sails high, 2 balls and no strikes. So what an inning for Lakeview. Brandon Herrera with a 1-out single. Chapa with a triple to right. He scored. Coffron struck out. Here's a quick throw over to second. Not in time. As Cade Henry is safe at second base. So Henry, he walked and later advanced to second. Cody Hyde hit an RBI single. Infield hit single, and he stands at first base. So for Lakeview, they have 2 runners on base, and they lead by a score of 4-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch is in there for a count strike. 2 balls and a strike is the count to Oberson, the third baseman, as Wyatt Henry waits on deck. We are in the last half of the second. 4-0 is our score. Lakeview on top, 2 balls and a strike is the count to Oberson. Here's the 2-1 pitch, which is lifted into left field. Martinez is there as he makes the catch to return to side, but not before for the Chiefs. They score 2 runs on 2 hits, and they leave 2 left, stranded on base. At the end of 2 complete our score, it is Lakeview 4 and Sweetwater 0. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now go into the top half of the third for Sweetwater. And the first pitch is in there for a strike to Seth Garcia. Garcia, the catcher, will be followed by Atkins, the second baseman, and then Carr, the center fielder. And foul tip at the plate. Now Garcia's quickly into the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. Working against Jacob Chapa. Chapa, in his first start of the season, so far he has retired 5 out of 7 Sweetwater batters through 2 innings of work. No balls and 2 strikes is the count to Garcia. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss as Garcia strikes out. And that is the second strikeout in the game for Jacob Chapa. So 1 out, bases empty in the Sweetwater third for Atkins, the second baseman. So for Lakeview, 4 runs on 5 hits. They have left 4 stranded. And for Sweetwater, they have no runs on no hits, no errors. Here's the first pitch to Atkins. A fastball is up and in at the letters for ball 1. Atkins, he waves through that 1-0 pitch, and the count's even at a ball and a strike. Folks, we are live streaming Central and Lakeview baseball and softball twice a week through April. And now here's the 1-1 pitch. Is grounded foul, 1 ball and 2 strikes. On Tuesday, March the 23rd, we'll broadcast the Central Lady Cats softball game as they'll take on Permian at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So watch at 7 o'clock right here on Concho Sports. Here's the 1-2 pitch, which is upstairs and high and inside. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. You can watch the game on Concho Sports Network, Roku, and Fire TV apps, YouTube, and Facebook. The 2-2 pitch is high and inside at the letters, and the count now runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Atkins, the second baseman for Sweetwater in this top half of the third. Here's a 3-2 pitch, and that is low and inside for ball 4. So that is the second walk allowed today by Jacob Chapa. A 1-out walk, and this brings in Darian Carr, the center fielder. Carr today is 0 for 1. He struck out swinging to begin things for Sweetwater in this game. So for Sweetwater, they are searching for their first hit of the game, while for the Chiefs, they have 4 runs on 5 hits. There goes the runner. The pitch is high. The throw over to second, and he is safe. So give Atkins a stolen base. So for Sweetwater, they now have a runner in scoring position. 1-0 is the count to Darian Carr. So for Sweetwater, trying to get some base runners on the board here, and they do. They have a runner at second base in scoring position for the first time today. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Carr, swinging a ground ball to the shortstop Bustamante. Throws over to first in time for the out. This throw back to second is not in time. So Darian Carr bounces out to the shortstop Bustamante. 6-3 on the play for the Lakeview defense. So we have 2 outs. Runner at second for Martinez, the left fielder. Hector Martinez, he is 0 for 1. He popped out to Bustamante in the first. So for Lakeview, playing very well. Good start so far, leading 4-0. As Martinez is a left-handed batter. Here's the first pitch, swinging a chopper to the right side of the infield, fielded by the second baseman. Coffron throws over to first in time as he beats him by a step with that throw as Martinez bounces out to Coffron. 4-3 on the play for the Lakeview defense. So for a Sweetwater in the third, no runs, no hits, 1 man left as we'll go into the last half of the third. Our score, it is Lakeview 4, Sweetwater 0. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll now head into the last half of the third as Lakeview with a 4-0 lead. 4 runs on 5 hits, 4 runners left for Lakeview. No runs on no hits, no errors, but for Sweetwater, they have left 2 runners stranded, as we'll now have for the Chiefs as Wyatt Henry will lead it off, the left fielder. Henry will be followed by Bustamante and then Murray, 6, 7, and 8 in the Chiefs lineup. Here's the first pitch, which is laced into left field for a base hit past the third baseman Thompson. Rounding first is Henry, and he'll go to second base on a stand-up double to begin things for the Chiefs in this last half of the third. So on the first pitch, Wyatt Henry, he rips the baseball down the third base line into left field. And for the Chiefs, they now have hit number 6 in the game. This brings up Bustamante, the shortstop. Nicholas Bustamante today, he is 0 for 1. He popped out to the catcher, Garcia, back in the first to return to side. Here's the first pitch, is low and outside. There goes a runner, and he is safe as Henry slides into third base safely. And the pitch is low and away to Bustamante, and he now faces a 1-ball and no strike count. So for the Chiefs, they are running on the base paths against Leo Holsey. And Holsey is now in trouble again. It's now, here's a 1-0 pitch. It's in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Bustamante. Runner at third, Wyatt Henry led off with a double down the third base line and then stole from second to third base for the Lakeview Chiefs. As the Chiefs lead by a score 4-0 here in this last half of the third. Here's the 1-1 pitch, chopped foul at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. Beautiful day for baseball today. 320 down the left and the right field lines and 390 in straightaway center field. Bustamante climbs into the left side of the batter's box. Wiggles the bat over his shoulder. brings home the 1-2 pitch, which is lifted into shallow left field as it drops in front of Martinez. He bobbles it, and the run scores. So that's an RBI single for Bustamante. And for Lakeview, they now lead 5-0. And for the Chiefs, that is now hit number 7 in this game. So for Lakeview, they have scored 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, and now 1 more here in the third. Back-to-back singles for the Chiefs. Here now is Lucas Murray. Murray's 0 for 1 today, grounded out to the first baseman. Here's the first pitch, is a ball. Quick throw down to first, and Bustamante is safe. So for Leo Holsey, star quarterback, but he is struggling on the hill today. Has allowed 5 runs on 7 hits here, and we're only in the last half of the third, nobody out. Here's the pitch to Murray. It's a breaking ball, low and away, 2 balls and no strikes. And we don't see anyone working out in the Sweetwater bullpen, so looks like it will be on Holsey, as Chad Copeland is the third-year head coach. 2 balls and no strikes is to count to Murray. There goes the runner again. The 2-0 pitch is low and inside for ball 3, and stealing is Bustamante with a stolen base. So now for Lakeview, with a runner at second base, in scoring position. Here is the 3-0 pitch. That's in there for a caught strike. A quick throw over to third, and the runner is safe. So another stolen base there by Bustamante. 3 balls and a strike is to count to Lucas Murray, working against Leo Holsey. And as one of the fans just mentioned, that said that for the Chiefs, they're going to run all day against the right-handed pitcher, a junior. Here's the 3-1 pitch, a fastball down the heart of the plate for a called strike. It's now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out for Lakeview. Last half of the third, it's the Chiefs 5 and Sweetwater 0, with Bustamante at third base due to 2 stolen bases after he doubled down the left field line. Here's a 3-2 pitch, grounded foul, wide of third. Brandon Herrera, the center fielder, waits on deck. So it appears to be the game plan for the Lakeview Chiefs is to run on Leo Holsey, as Holsey has had difficulty in containing the runners on base. 3 balls and 2 strikes is to count to Murray. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Fastball is up and away for ball 4. And another walk issued by Leo Holsey. And for Lakeview, they have runners at the corners. That is the 4th walk issued by Leo Holsey today. As the shortstop Gomez has a quick word for Holsey, giving him some encouragement. So now there are runners at first and third, nobody out. A run is already in. Lakeview leading 5-0 for Brandon Herrera. And there's a quick throw on the first as Murray is back onto the bag standing up. Herrera today is 1 for 1. Infield hit single, stole second and scored in the second. So for Lakeview, 2 runs been scored by Chapa. Henry scored. Wyatt Henry has scored. And now here's the pitch, which is low. And now stealing a base is Murray. Another stolen base. And Herrera scored as well. So to recap, Chapa with 2 runs scored. Henry scored a run. Wyatt Henry has scored. And Brandon Herrera scored. They have scored the 5 runs today for Lakeview. Here is the 1-0 pitch. And that is low and inside. Looks like it's a ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes is the count to Brandon Herrera as Jacob Chapa waits on deck. And once again, Chapa scored 2 out of the 5 Lakeview runs today. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Fastball is a caught strike at the outside edge. 2 balls and a strike. So now at Lakeview, nobody out. Last half of the third. Bustamante's at third. He hit an RBI single and stole twice, and Murray is at second due to the walk and stole. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball is a caught strike at the inside edge, and it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So for Lakeview, they've been more dangerous with the stolen bases as well today. They are running wild on Leo Holsey. Holsey from the stretch. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss with that low outside breaking ball. And for out, that's out number 1. And for Holsey, that's his second strikeout of the game. So 1 out, runners at the corners for Lakeview in this last half of the third. And this brings up Jacob Chapa. Chapa today, he's been brilliant. He is 2 for 2 and has scored twice. Runners at second and third for Lakeview. And here's the first pitch, swinging a ground ball to the shortstop. Gomez throws over to first, not in time, as a run scores. So give Chapa an infield hit single and an RBI as Bustamante scores. And advancing to third base is Lucas Murray. And now for Lakeview, they lead 6-0. And for the Chiefs, 6 runs now on 8 hits in the game. So for Lakeview, they have scored runs in each inning, 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and 2 more here in the third. And this brings up Joseph Coffron, the second baseman. He is 0 for 2 today, searching for his first hit as Chapa takes a big lead at first and a quick throw to first, and Chapa's back. Murray's at third due to a walk and a stolen base. Chapa's at first with an RBI single. That is his second RBI of the game. Here's the pitch to Coffron. There's a throw to second, and stealing second base safely is Chapa. And for Chapa, that is his second stolen base of the game. As Chapa will be replaced by a pinch runner there for Lakeview as J.D. Salgado. Salgado now is the pinch runner for Lakeview. Now he stands at third base. 1-0 is the count to Joseph Coffron. He is 0 for 2 today, grounded out to the pitcher in the first and struck out on the called third strike in the second. And that is fouled to the plate, behind home plate to the screen. And it's now 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Coffron. So for Lakeview, they have really poured it on today, my friends. 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, and 2 more on the third against Leo Holsey. And looks like we have some activity now in the Sweetwater bullpen. Here's the 1-1 pitch when that's driven into left field as Martinez makes the catch for the out. And that's out number 2 as the runner hold as Murray remains at third base. So for Sweetwater, they have Thomas Hernandez is in the bullpen working out for the Mustangs. He's a right-hander, but we have 2 outs here in this Lakeview third. This brings up Cade Henry. Henry has walked twice and has scored in the first. Runners at second and third for the Chiefs, and now here is the first pitch. Swinging a ground ball up the middle, base hit, an RBI single. 1 run is in, and stopping at third base, there is Salgado. So Murray scores an RBI single for Cade Henry, and Salgado advances to third base. So for Lakeview, they've scored 3 runs in this last half of the third. 3 runs on 3 hits. And this now is Cody High with runners at the corners with 2 outs. Lakeview now leading by a score of 7-0. And 9 hits in the game. 1-0 is the count to Cody High as Holsey is still on the hill. Runners at the corners. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Cody High. Perhaps look for Cade Henry to steal a base. 5 stolen bases in this last half of the third alone. So the Lakeview Chiefs have been dominating the base paths today. Here's the 1-1 pitch, swinging a high, pop fly into left field. Shallow left field as the center fielder, Carr, as he makes the catch, as Carr is also a star wide receiver on the football team, as he makes the catch to return to side, but not before Lakeview. They score 3 runs on 3 hits, and they leave 2 runners left. At the end of 3 complete, our score, it is Lakeview 7 and Sweetwater 0. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Welcome back to Lakeview as the Sweetwater Mustangs now will come up to bat. Leo Holsey is now the batter. And the first pitch he takes is low and away for ball 1 in this top half of the 4th. So for Holsey, he reached base on an error committed by the third baseman in the first, but was left stranded at the first base bag. And now the pitch goes to the backstop. It's now 2 balls and no strikes for Holsey. So Holsey will be followed by Thompson and Gomez, 3, 4, and 5 in the Sweetwater lineup. Working against the Lakeview pitcher Jacob Chapa. As Chapa today has retired 6 out of 11 batters. Here's swinging a ground ball base hit down the third base line. As Holsey rounds first, and he will go stop right there. Takes a wide turn, and now here's an errant throw as Holsey, as he dives into second base. So for Holsey, as he dives safely into second, as he rips the baseball single down the left field line. As we take a look at the replay here, as he goes to second on the errant throw there by Henry, and he is safe. So for a leadoff double, give him a double for Holsey. And for Sweetwater, that is their first hit of the game. So for the score is 8-0. Lakeview on top. As we'll recap that last inning momentarily, as Thompson is at the plate. And that's ripped into left field and all the way to the corner, and that is foul. So our score is 8-0. So what we have, 8 runs on 9 hits, and for Lakeview and for Sweetwater, no runs on 1 hit. So we are keeping the scoring here for you, as we'll provide you updates of this game. As Thompson is at the plate, 0-1 is the count to Thompson. There's a quick throw over to second, and the runner Holsey is safe. And that was a wild half inning moments ago, my friends, as for Lakeview in that last half of the third. They scored 4 runs on 3 hits, and they left 1 runner stranded. And here is the pitch. The 0-1 is low and inside for ball 1. And it counts 1 ball and 1 strike. It's the count to Thompson. As Holsey is the runner at second base, we are in the top of the 4th. Lakeview leading 8-0. Swinging a high pop fly into shallow left field. Bustamante, the shortstop, is there, makes the 2-handed grab for out number 1. So Thompson pops out to Bustamante at shortstop. Thompson is 0-for-2 today. This brings up Gomez, the shortstop. Gomez walked, but was forced out at second base in the second. So Gomez climbs into the right side of the batter's box. Lakeview leading by a score of 8-0 here in this top half of the 4th. And now here is the first pitch. A sidearm fastball is low and away, ball 1. As for Lakeview, they are in great shape, looking to snap their 4-game losing streak. There's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball's a called strike down the heart of the plate. And it's now 1 ball and 1 strike as McCoy, the right fielder, waits on deck. For Sweetwater, only 1 hit so far in the game. That happened moments ago on a double by Holsley, the pitcher. Here's the 1-1. And that's a all-speed delivery, low and inside. And the count's now 2 balls and a strike. For the Chiefs, they lost to Big Spring 10-3 on Thursday. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. We are live from the Lakeview Baseball Field on this Saturday afternoon. A beautiful day for baseball today. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count. 1 out, top half of the 4th. Here's the 2-2. Swinging a chopper, a comebacker to Choppa, as he will now throw over to third to O'Bourgeon. Now over to second, and a runner is safe. So for Choppa, deciding to go to get the lead runner, Holsey, perhaps he could have just thrown over to first to get that easy out. So now for Sweetwater, they have a runner on first and second, fielder's choice. So Gomez is on due to the fielder's choice there, as Choppa decides to try to throw out Holsey instead of going to first. So perhaps a bad decision there by the pitcher. And now here is McCoy, the right fielder. And the first pitch is in there for a strike to McCoy. McCoy is 0 for 1, line to the shortstop. Bustamante back in the second. So now that's a great advantage for Sweetwater. Here's the 0-1 pitch, which is laced into left center field for a base hit. Rounding third is Holsey. He will score. The ball will go all the way to the alley as another run scores. And going to third base is McCoy. So McCoy with a 2-run RBI triple, which scores Holsey and Gomez. And it is now 8-2 with only 1 out. So that was a big decision there by Choppa. Now, because of that mistake, 2 runners come on in. A 2-run RBI triple for McCoy as Holsey and Gomez both score. And here now for Sweetwater. Now they trail now, instead of 8-0, it's now 8-2. McPherson is now up to plate. A.J. McPherson, he's 0 for 1. And the count now quickly is 2 balls and no strikes is the count. So now we have a situation here in the 4th. 2 runners across. We have 1 out. Runner at second. Now at third, rather, with that triple. 2-0 is the count to McPherson. Now here is the 2-0 pitch. It's a called strike. As McPherson today is 0 for 1. He flied out to the center fielder Herrera to retire the side into second. Here is the 2-1 pitch. And that's a called strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes as Garcia waits on deck. McPherson, the first baseman, is a left-handed batter. 1 out. Runner at third. And that's chopped foul at home plate. Count remains even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, Chad Copeland is the head coach for Sweetwater, as he is now in his 3rd year as the head coach. He's a graduate from Texas Tech. There's the 2-2 pitch, swinging a line drive into center field. Herrera's there, makes the catch, and tagging up from third base is the runner, McCoy, and McCoy scores, and now that makes it 8-3. So a fly out to Herrera in center field, but McCoy scores, and for Sweetwater, they score another run, so it's now 8-3 in favor of Lakeview, but Sweetwater, they've scored all 3 runs in this top half of the 4th. So here now is Seth Garcia at the plate. As Garcia, he is 0 for 1. He struck out swinging. At the time, the second strikeout for Jacob Choppa in the game. Now here is the pitch. That is a ball, high and inside. As Seth Garcia at the plate with 2 outs here in this Sweetwater 4th, working against Jacob Choppa. Made that big mistake moments ago, which allowed the runners to score. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swinging a ground ball to Bustamante. Backhands it to his right. Throws over to first. Not in time. That's an infield hit. And that is the 3rd hit in this inning by Sweetwater. So for the Mustangs now on some momentum here, a 2-out infield hit single by Garcia. Garcia's now 1 for 2. This brings up Atkins, the second baseman. Atkins walked and stole second back in the third. Sweetwater trying to get back into this game, trying to climb back into it, as they trailed moments ago by 8, now only down by 5, 8-3. As Brendan Atkins now climbs into the right side of the dish with a runner on first. That is Garcia. As for Sweetwater, 3 runs on 3 hits in this inning against Jacob Chappell. Here's the first pitch. He chops a bunt to the third base side. Fielded by the third baseman. Throws over to first, which is a low throw. And now advancing to third base is Garcia. So that is an error on the third baseman. So for Lakeview now, they've committed an error. That's the second error they have allowed in this game. As for Sweetwater, they have runners at second and third with 2 outs. And this brings up Darian Carr, the center fielder. Carr today, he's 0 for 2, bounced to shortstop, Bustamante in the third, struck out swinging in the first. But he has a great opportunity here. He swings on the first pitch and lifts a fly ball to the second baseman as Carfron makes the catch. He pops out to Parfron to retire the side. Not before Sweetwater. They score 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left. As we'll go into the last half of the fourth, our score, it is Lakeview 8 and Sweetwater 3. We'll take a short break. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttex.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo RO Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We go into the last half of the fourth. As for Lakeview, they now lead Sweetwater by a score of 8-3 in this game. And now the new pitcher for Sweetwater, the second used by head coach Chad Copeland, is Thomas Hernandez. Hernandez is a right-hander as he replaces Leo Holsey. As Holsey, he struggled in this game today as he only retired 8 out of 22 batters as he allowed 8 runs on 9 hits in this game. As that was a very wild third inning. As for Lakeview, as they poured in 4 runs in that last half of the third. So here now for the Chiefs is Oberjan. Oberjan now will come up the bat in this last half of the fourth as Lakeview with a 8-3 lead. We'll see what will happen here in this fourth inning against Thomas Hernandez. Oberjan, today he is 0 for 2. Is a right-handed batter as he begins things here in this fourth inning. And here's the first pitch. A breaking ball is a called strike. Oberjan today, he flied out to left field in the second and flied to center in the first, searching for his first hit of the game. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss off the breaking ball. No balls and 2 strikes. Here is the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So we have, as we stand right now, 8 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors, 4 runners left for Lakeview. 3 runs on 3 hits, 3 runners left for Sweetwater. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count, and here's the pitch. Breaking balls low and away off the plate as Henry waits on deck for the Chiefs, and Henry will be followed by Bustamante, 5, 6, and 7 in the Lakeview lineup in this last half of the fourth, as Lakeview, they lead 8-3 in a wild game here from Lakeview Baseball Field. There's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball is low and outside, as mostly Thomas Hernandez mostly throwing off-speed pitches here, mostly electing to go with his breaking ball as he replaces Leo Holsey. Holsey pitched in only 3 innings today. Here's the 3-2 pitch, low and outside for ball 4 rather, as Hernandez allows a walk to Oberson, no out walk. And now for Lakeview, they have a runner on first. We'll see. As it looks like they'll go with a pinch runner here in this 4th frame. For a number 23, we don't have the number 23 on the roster here. So there's a runner on first base for Lakeview in this last half of the 4th. Nobody out. This brings up Wyatt Henry. Henry today, he doubled down the left field line and scored in the 3rd and walked, but was left stranded at first in the 1st inning. There's the first pitch. It's outside, a quick throw to first, and the runner's back at first base. Well, Chad Copeland is the head coach for Sweetwater. He is actually born in San Angelo, but he went to high school at Abilene Wiley High School. And talking with Chad Copeland earlier today, he said his key for his team is to be consistent throughout the season. Here's the pitch. It's a called strike. He says his goal is just working with his students every day, and he said he really did not have any major effects as far as his team with the COVID-19 pandemic. He said it mostly affected the football and the basketball teams. So he has been very fortunate on that end. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A breaking ball is up and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. And is a graduate from Texas Tech University. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Wyatt Henry. There goes the runner. Here's the pitch, a called strike. A throw down to second, and the runner is safe. So a stolen base for the Lakeview Chiefs. Very unusual that we don't have a public address announcer here today. With Shay Harris, the producer and director for Concho Sports, and we also have several young scholars from Lakeview High School who have filled in at the last minute to work the scoreboard. And we applaud them for their efforts. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Is fouled back off to the third base side. And if I'm correct, this is the first time that they are working this scoreboard. So we give them credit to come on in here during their spring break to assist the Lakeview officials and also the Lakeview staff here today on this Saturday afternoon. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count to Henry as Thomas Hernandez works from the stretch, and here's the pitch, which is lifted into right field, and it gets past McCoy. And now the runner will advance to third base. He'll be waved on home, and he will score. And stopping at third base is Wyatt Henry. A quick throw, and he is out. So Henry is out at third base, and we have 1 out. So give Henry an RBI double as the runner scores, and it's now 9-3. So for Lakeview, 9 runs on 9 hits now in this game, as Henry was picked off at third base. So Henry is out, and we now have 1 out in this frame. And this now brings up Bustamante, the shortstop. Bustamante is 1 for 2 today. Here's a slow curve ball, which is upstairs for ball 1. Bustamante in the third singled to shallow left center field, stole twice, stole second and third and scored, and popped out to the catcher back in the first. Here is the 1-0 pitch, is a called strike, and the count's even at the ball and a strike. So for Lakeview, they have scored a run in each inning today. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and 4 in the third, and 1 here in the fourth, and they now lead 9-3. Here's the 1-1 pitch, fouled back to the screen behind home plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 9 runs on 9 hits for Lakeview. 3 runs on 3 hits. And for Sweetwater, they have left 3 runners stranded. And Lakeview, they have left 4 runners stranded. 1 out, bases clean in the last half of the fourth for Lakeview. Here is the 1-2 pitch. Swinging is fouled back to the screen once again. And the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's give you the defense once again for Sweetwater. Martinez is in left. Carr is in center. And McCoy is in right. Talking about Carr, the center fielder, he's also a second-team All-State wide receiver on the football team. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count to Bustamante. Here's the pitch, which is grounded into right field for a base hit. So a 1-out single for Bustamante, and that is now hit number 10 for the Lakeview Chiefs. So they have poured out the hits today, their 10th hit of the game. This brings up the right fielder, Lucas Murray. As Murray today, he walked and scored in the third, grounded out the first in the second. So for Murray, he is 0 for 1 and has scored a run. Murray is a right-handed batter, stands deep in the box. 1 out in the Lakeview fourth as they lead. And now here's the pitch and a snap throw, and the runner is back. As the score, it's 9-3. Sweetwater scored 3 runs in the top half of the fourth. As Sweetwater left runners at first and third in that frame. Here's a fly ball, and that drops in for a base hit. So Murray gets his first hit of the game, which one hops in front of McCoy. And now advancing to second base is Bustamante. So a 1-out single into right field. And for Lakeview, that is now hit number 11 in this contest. This brings up Brandon Herrera. As for Herrera, he is 1 for 2. He singled to left in the second and struck out swinging in the third. Runners on first and second for the Chiefs. And the first pitch is a breaking ball called strike. If I have this correctly for Sweetwater, Holsey, Gomez, and McCoy scored for Sweetwater in the top half of the fourth. And here's the pitch, and now the throw down to third is not in time. And advancing to third base is Bustamante. And the count's now 1 ball and 1 strike, and now advancing to second base is Lucas Murray. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Herrera, another stolen base for Bustamante. He has 3 stolen bases in this game. As for Lakeview now trying to add more to their lead at 9-3. And now it's laced into left field for a hit for Herrera as both runners score and advance into second base with a 2-run RBI double is Brandon Herrera. So Herrera singles to left, Bustamante and Lucas Murray score. And now it's 11-3 is our score. So for Lakeview now, 11 runs on 12 hits in this game. As both runners score, Bustamante and Murray. So for Lakeview, they have scored 3 runs in this last half of the fourth. So here now is Jacob Chapa. Chapa scored 3 runs today. And here is a pitch with a breaking ball called strike. Chapa, he hit an RBI single, infield hit single in the third and scored, stole second, hit an RBI triple to right field and scored in the second, and singled to left and scored in the first. So Chapa today is 3 for 3. As time is called, as the catcher Garcia will talk things over to Thomas Hernandez. Thomas Hernandez, as he is in relief of Leo Holsey. Holsey struggled in the game today. He's retired 8 out of 22 batters. So taking a look at our score sheet, it's all messy today. with all the runs scored. As for Lakeview, they lead by a score of 11-3. As for Jacob Chapa at the plate, Chapa's a right-handed batter with a runner at second base. Brandon Herrera is at second base. 1-1 is the count to Jacob Chapa. And now is a quick throw to first, and sliding back to the bag is Brandon Herrera. As Joseph Cafron waits on deck. As for Lakeview, they have pounded out 12 hits in this game. Looking to snap their losing streak. Here's the pitch to Chapa, and that is lifted down the first base line, giving chase is Ferguson, and that goes out of play. So it's now no balls and 2 strikes to Jacob Chapa. We are in the last half of the fourth, as we have 1 out. And with a runner on second base, which is Herrera, with a RBI double into left field. Chapa, as he waits the 0-2 pitch, which is outside to throw down to third, and the runner is safe. So Herrera with a stolen base as he goes to third, slides in safely into third base. So it's now no balls and 2 strikes is the count to Jacob Chapa. Now time has been called, and we'll recap the game here for you. I'll tell you, it's a wild one here today. Lakeview on top by a score of 11-3. 11 runs on 12 hits. 4 runners left for Lakeview. 3 runs on 3 hits. 3 runners left for Sweetwater. Leo Hosley was the starting pitcher. He only pitched in 3 innings, as he, in the game, retired only 8 out of 22 batters, as he gave up 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, and 4 in the third to chase him out of the game. Leo Hosley, starting quarterback for the Sweetwater Mustangs on football season, but so far today he struggled here on the hill, and he has been relieved by Thomas Hernandez. So Jacob Chapa is at the plate with a runner at third base, which is Herrera, and here is the pitch of fastballs up and in for a ball. So if I am correct, it is now should be 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jacob Chapa with a runner at third base, and time has been called. Give a lot of credit to the home plate umpire in providing us the hand signals of the balls and strikes today here from the Lakeview baseball field, as Jacob Chapa now climbs out of the batter's box as his team leads by a score of 11-3. And while we have a moment, let's talk about the Region 4A district standings. As Levelland, they are in first place with a record of 2-0 in district play. They are 10-5-0 over on the season. Big Spring, they are 1-1. They are 10-6-1 in the district. Lubbock Estacado, they are in third place with a record of 1-1. They are 7-10-1 over on the season. Sweetwater, they are 1-1 in the district with a 4-10-1 record. Snyder, they are 1-1, as they are 8-7-0 in the season. And Lakeview, they are 0-2, searching for their first district win today. They are in great shape, but they are 3-8-1 over on the season. As we just had, head coach Bueno was just over to the Sweetwater side, and now trots back to the third base side as the head coach for Lakeview. So we now have, for Jacob Chapa, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yes, that's correct. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Jacob Chapa with a runner at third base, and we have 1 out. And now here is the pitch. Breaking ball is low and outside, and the count now runs full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. As for Lakeview, they have pushed 3 runs across in this last half of the fourth. Full count to Jacob Chapa. Here's the 3-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball up the middle, base hit into center field, and a run scores. And it is now 12-3. And for Lakeview, hit number 13 in the game. As for the Chiefs, now they have scored 4 runs in this last half of the fourth. So for Jacob Chapa, he is now 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs in the game and 2 stolen bases. He has to be the player of the game so far. Here now is Joseph Coffron, the second baseman. Quick throw over to first and perhaps look for Chapa to run. Chapa was also a star for the Chiefs football team. As Coffron today, he is 0 for 3. Searching for his first hit, he flew out to left field in the third. Struck out in the second and grounded to the pitcher that was Holsey back in the first. So Coffron is 0 for 3 today. Here is the first pitch, and that is in there for a ball. Quick throw to first, and Chapa is back, standing back on the first base bag. So 1-0 is the count to Coffron here in the last half of the fourth. 1 out. As for Lakeview, they have scored 4 runs here in this last half of the fourth against Sweetwater, and they lead by a count of 12-3. Coffron is a right-handed batter, as Chapa with a huge lead, but then scampers back to the bag. Beautiful day for baseball here from Lakeview High School on this spring break weekend. There's the 1-0 pitch, and that is upstairs for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes, as now advancing to second base is Chapa. So Chapa now in scoring position. 2 balls and no strikes is the count to Coffron, as Cade Henry waits on deck. So every player for Lakeview has scored today except for the man at the plate, which is Coffron. So it'll be good for him to get on base to try to score with 1 out here in this last half of the fourth, as Lakeview with a huge lead at 12-3. Here's the 2-0s, a breaking ball up and in at the letters, and the count now runs to 3 balls and no strikes. Thomas Hernandez is the pitcher. He replaces Holsey today. As the runner, Chapa is at second base. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Swinging a ground ball to the third baseman, Thompson, as he throws over to first. So it gets past Fearston. That's an error. And now all the way in to score is Chapa. So Chapa scores on the air. E5 on the play, and Coffron now goes to second base. An error by Sweetwater. That's their first error of the game, and it's now 13-3, our score. As the runner scores, and now Chapa scores, and that brings up Cade Henry with Coffron at second base. So if he scores, every starter for Lakeview has scored today. On the first pitch, he lines that one foul down the third baseline for strike 1. So Coffron is on due to an error by the third baseman, Thompson. That scores Chapa. Chapa has scored 4 runs today, as Cade Henry, he hit an RBI single to center field in the third, walked and scored in the first. And the 0-1 pitch is low and inside for ball 1. He walked, but was left stranded at second base in the second. So Cade Henry today is 1 for 1 and a run scored. Runner on second for Lakeview. That's Coffron with only 1 out. Here's the pitch, swinging a ground ball, and that goes in for a base hit into right field. Rounding third, and Coffron scores for another run, and it's now 14-3. And for Lakeview, that is hit number 14. 14 runs on 14 hits for Lakeview, and they lead 14-3 here in this last half of the fourth. So Cade Henry with an RBI single. And each starter for Lakeview, they have now scored in this game. And this brings up Cody High, and he is the 9th batter to come to the plate here in this last half of the fourth. Cody High, as he flied up the center field, as he hits a fly ball into left center field. Going back as the shortstop is Gomez, as Gomez makes the play for out number 2. Rather, that's now the 3rd out, as they say, so it's now officially 3 outs, and that will end the inning, but not before Lakeview. They score 6 runs in this inning, as we collect their hits. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. 6 runs on 4 hits in that inning, and they leave a runner stranded. So at the end of 4 complete, our score, it is Lakeview 14 and Sweetwater 3. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
We all want to get back to the way things.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable.
Now back to the top of the 5th, and an infield hit single by Martinez. And he is safe at first, as Martinez now the 4th hit of the game for Sweetwater. A new pitcher for Lakeview, as Caffron is now the pitcher, our right-hander. As we have nobody out in the top of the 5th, here is for Sweetwater. New batter at the plate. Top of the 5th, 14-3 is our score, and that is Holsey. Holsey is now the hitter for Sweetwater. So welcome back, my friends. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we are in the top half of the 5th. For Lakeview, 14 runs on 14 hits, 2 errors. They have left 5 stranded. And for Sweetwater, 3 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, and they have left 3 stranded. So Holsey is the batter with the run on first, and the pitch gets away from Peanut, the catcher, and now advancing to second base is Martinez. So now 1-0 is the count to Holsey here in this top half of the 5th. As the starting pitcher for Lakeview, Jacob Chapa, pitched 4 innings as he retired 9 out of 19 batters today. Here's the 1-0, swing and line to the shortstop, Bustamante, for the out. What a play there by Bustamante as he backhands the baseball to his right for out number 1 in this top of the 5th. This brings up Thompson, the third baseman. Thompson popped out to Bustamante in the 4th in his last at-bat and reached on the fielder's choice in the 1st. 14-3 is our score in this top half of the 5th. And now here's the pitch, which one hops in front of the plate for ball 1. Boy, for Lakeview, they've really poured it on today. Perhaps their best game they've played this season. As for the Lakeview Chiefs, they lost to Big Spring on Thursday, but boy, they have really made amends here today, leading by a score of 14-3. 1-0 is the count to Thompson, the third baseman. And here's the pitch, low and inside for ball 2. As Caffron is now the pitcher for Lakeview. And Jacob Chapa now is the second baseman. Chapa did a great job today. Here is the pitch, which one hops in front of the plate. And it's now 3 balls and no strikes to Thompson. So Caffron on the hill as a right-hander. And Chapa, once again at second base, all-purpose athlete for Lakeview. 3 balls and no strikes is the count to Thompson. One out, one on here in the Sweetwater fifth as Lakeview they lead 14-3. And a throw over to second as Martinez dives back to the bag. Well, as we take a look at the Chiefs' upcoming baseball schedule after today's game on Tuesday, March the 23rd, they'll travel to Levelland. That game will start at 7:30. Levelland, they are 10-5. Over on the season, they are in first place in the district, so that'll be a tough matchup. Here's the 3-0 pitch as a called strike down the pipe. Then on next Friday, March 26th, the Chiefs will travel to Lubbock Estacado. That's a 7:30 game. And then they will wrap up the month of March on Tuesday, March the 30th at Snyder, a 7:30 game. 3 balls and a strike is to count to Thompson. A throw over to second, and nice play there by Herrera. Perhaps that for Cafran should not worry about the runner at second since you lead by a score of 14-3. And then to begin the month of April for the Chiefs, on Friday, April the 2nd, on Good Friday weekend. Actually, that is Good Friday, as the Chiefs will be here as they'll take on Snyder. That's a 7:30 game. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and foul tip at the plate, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Then on Tuesday, April the 6th, the Chiefs will be home against Big Spring. Big Spring, they are 10-6-1 this year. That's a 7:30 start. And then later on in April, on Friday, April the 9th, they'll travel to Big Spring. And then on Tuesday, April the 13th, they'll go to Sweetwater. So for the Chiefs, 5 out of their next 7 games will be on the road. Here is the 3-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball. It gets past Cafran. And the throw to first is not in time, which gets past high. And now advancing all the way to home is Martinez, and Martinez is safe. So Martinez is safe at the plate, and it's now 14-4. So for Thompson, he now advances to second base on the air. So a single in the air for Thompson, and Martinez scores from second, and it's now 14-4. As for Lakeview, that is now error number 3 on the game. So a little bit sloppy there for the Chiefs to begin this here, top half of the 5th. So 1 run is in. Thompson's on due to an error. With 1 out, here is Gomez. Gomez, as the shortstop, reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the 4th. And the first pitch is in there, first strike. So for Lakeview now, 14 runs on 14 hits, 3 errors in the game. And for Sweetwater, 4 runs on 4 hits and an error, and they have left 3 stranded. 1-1 is the count to Gomez, and the pitch, 1 hops in front of the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. Quick throw over to second, and the runner is back. Surprisingly, that for the Chiefs, they are electing to concentrate on the runners at second base. You lead by 10 runs here, 14-4. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Gomez, the shortstop. 1 out, the top of the 5th for Sweetwater. Here is the 1-1 pitch. 1 hops in front of the plate, 2 balls and a strike. Gomez at the plate, works on a 2-1 count and a fake throw. As for, let's provide a quick correction from Tuesday. We'd like to say hello to Mr. Plocky, whose son James Plocky is a junior pitcher for the Central baseball team, as son James pitched in Tuesday's game for the Bobcats against Midland. 2 balls and a strike is the count to Gomez. Here's a 2-1 pitch. And that's a strike, 2 balls and 2 strikes. As James Plocky pitched well in that game, as he pitched all 7 innings and retired 20 out of 30 Midland batters and allowed only 4 hits, struck out 8 and allowed 5 hits and walked 1 in that game on Tuesday. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball is low and away for ball 3. As James Plocky is a junior starting pitcher for the Bobcats, and we thank Mr. Plocky for watching Tuesday's broadcast on Concho Sports. 3 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Gomez with the runner at second. And the pitch is low and inside for ball 4. So for Kafran, has now given up a walk, a one-out walk to Gomez. This brings up Jake McCoy, the right fielder. McCoy today, he is 1 for 2, lined to the shortstop in the second, and also hit an RBI triple left field and scored in the 4th against Chapo. So 1 run is in, and 1 out here in this Sweetwater 5th. Here's the first pitch, is low and away for ball 1. So now head coach Buenos, now as he trots out to the mound to talk things over with Kafran, who is struggling a bit, as his team, though, leads by 10, 14-4. Well, while we have a moment, we'd like to talk a little baseball here, baseball history, that 40 years ago, of course, was 1981. It was the strike-shortened season as the Los Angeles Dodgers defeated the New York Yankees in the 81 Fall Classic 4-2. As third baseman Ron Cey, nicknamed the Penguin, led the Dodgers with 13 home runs, and Steve Garvey led the squad with 64 knocked in that season. Here's the 1-0 pitch, which gets past Peanut as he's able to pick up the baseball as the runners hold. So for Sweetwater, they have runners at first and second, 1 out. Run already in the top half of the 5th as the Chiefs lead 14-4. In that World Series in 1981, the Dodgers, they were trailing in the World Series 2-0, but they rallied to win 4 consecutive games. Here's the 1-0 pitch, is grounded foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. Fernando Valenzuela, he won Game 3 by a 5-4 score, as the Dodgers won Game 4 to even that series with a wild game, 8-7, and they clinched the series 9-2 in Game 6 back in 1981. Here's a 2-1 pitch. A fastball is up and in at the letters. It runs now the count is run 3 balls and a strike. That 1981 season had a players' strike, which lasted from June 12th through July 31st of 1981, as that season was played in 2 halves. Here's the 3-1 pitch, which gets past Peanut, and now the runners will advance, as it's now ball 4, as the bases are loaded as Thompson goes to third, Gomez to second, and McCoy to first. So that's a walk, a 1-out walk, the second walk issued by Kafran. And we'll see what will happen now as the Lakeview infield will now meet on the infield here. The bases are loaded here in this top half of the 5th, 1 out, as the Chiefs now lead by a score of 14-5. Make that 14-4, rather. I was looking at the scoreboard, so it's actually 14-4 is our score in this game as the bases are loaded. Looks like that for Lakeview, they'll have a new pitcher in the game. Looks like it will be Gary Cruz. So Gary Cruz is the third pitcher used by head coach Bueno here this afternoon. So a wild game here from Lakeview baseball field. We are in the top half of the 5th. The score is 14-4. Bases loaded. Thompson's at third. He reached base on an error. Gomez is at second. He walked. And McCoy is at first. He walked. 2 walks were allowed there by Kafran. So Kafran was quickly relieved by now Gary Cruz, the third pitcher of the game. So for Lakeview, they've had Chapa. Chapa pitched the first 4 innings, and then Kafran pitched part of the 5th, and he has been relieved now by Gary Cruz. As Gary Cruz will face now A.J. Ferguson, the first baseman. Ferguson is 0 for 2 today, flat out to center field on both occasions in the 2nd and also in the 4th. Well, while we have a moment talking about that 1981 season that happened 40 years ago, as the winner, it happened that the division winners of the first half played the division winners of the second half in that season. So it was set up that in the American League, the New York Yankees, they won the first half of the season. They played the winners of the second half, which was the Milwaukee Brewers. The Yankees won that series 3-2 to advance into the ALCS. Then it was Oakland, winners of the Western Division in the first half. They played the Kansas City Royals, winners of the second half. Oakland won that series 3-0. Very unusual setup in the 1981 baseball season, 41 years ago. Here's Ferguson now as he takes a called strike on a curveball. Ferguson is 0 for 2 today, fought out to center field on both occasions. And then in the American League Championship Series, the Yankees defeated Oakland 3-0. Here's the 0-1 pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss, and Ferguson's now in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. As the bases are now loaded for Sweetwater, a chance to try to climb back into this one as a trail by a score of 14-4. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. Meanwhile, in the National League in that season, a weird year 40 years ago, was the Philadelphia Phillies. They won the first half of the regular season in the Eastern Division. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss as Ferguson strikes out. That's the second out of this inning, and a big out there as Gary Cruz strikes out Ferguson. 2 outs here in the Sweetwater fifth, and this brings up Seth Garcia. Garcia, the catcher today, 1 for 2, struck out swinging in the third and hit a single in the fourth, but was left stranded at third base. 4 runs on 4 hits for Sweetwater. Here's the first pitch, which gets past Peanut, and now here comes the throw to home, and the runner is safe. So Thompson scores. Now it's 14-5, and the runners advance. So Gomez goes to third base, and McCoy advances to second base. So 1-0 is the count to Garcia. Garcia is 1 for 2 today, as we have 2 outs here in this top half of the fifth. A very wild inning here from Lakeview High School. One to 0 is the count to Garcia. He's a right-handed batter. And here is the 1-0 pitch. That's a breaking ball. That's in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. So for Sweetwater in this fifth so far, 2 runs on 1 hit and an error against the Lakeview defense. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball's high and inside at the letters. 2 balls and a strike, and our score, it is now 14-5. 5 runs on 4 hits, 1 error for Sweetwater. 14 runs, 14 hits, and 3 errors for Lakeview. Here is the 2-1 pitch on its way to the plate to Seth Garcia. As Garcia waves to that fastball, it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gary Cruz is the third pitcher in the game for Lakeview today. Champa started. Champa pitched 4 innings, and then he was replaced by Coffron. He struggled in this fifth, and he was replaced by Cruz. Here's a 2-2 pitch, fouled back to the screen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the National League Series in 1981, going back to that 40 years ago, the Phillies defeated Montreal. Montreal defeated the Phillies 3-2. And in the Western Division, it was Los Angeles defeated Houston 3-2. And in the championship series, it was the Dodgers defeating Montreal 3-2 as the Dodgers came back on a rally against the Expos. Here's the 2-2 pitch, goes to the backstop, and the runner scores as Gomez scores from third base now to make it 14-6. And advancing to third base is McCoy. So it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 3 runs pushed across by Sweetwater here in this fifth inning to try to make it interesting. It's 14-6 Lakeview. 3 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Garcia. Garcia works from the stretch and brings home the full count pitch. A fastball is low and outside, ball 4. So a 2-out walk issued by Gary Cruz, and this brings up Brendan Atkins, the second baseman. Atkins today, he walked, but was left stranded at second base in the third. Reached base on an error, was stranded at second base in the fourth. So Atkins today is 0 for 1, now with runners at the corners. It's Lakeview 14, Sweetwater 6. Here's the pitch to Atkins, is in there for a called strike. as in that 1981 series, the teams that actually won the first half of the regular season actually advanced to the World Series. And in the World Series was the Dodgers defeating the Yankees 4-2. What a wild season that was, 1981, with that strike-filled season. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's a breaking ball in there for a called strike. No balls and 2 strikes is the count. Beautiful day once again here on this Saturday in San Angelo. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fastball is up and in above the helmet of Atkins, and the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. As for Lakeview, they batted around in that 4th inning. O'Bergeon will come up the plate in the 5th inning for Lakeview as they lead by a score of 14-6. Atkins is at the plate with a runner at first, which is Garcia. Sweetwater, they scored 3 runs here in this top half of the 5th. Working from the stretch as Gary Cruz is the pitcher. Swing and a miss off the breaking ball as Atkins strikes out to retire the side, but not before. Sweetwater, they scored 3 runs in this 5th, 3 runs on 1 hit, 1 error, and they leave 2 stranded. We'll go into the last half of the 5th. Our score, Lakeview 14 and Sweetwater 6. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply.
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll head into the last half of the 5th with our score. Lakeview, 14 runs on 14 hits, 3 errors, 5 runners left. And for Sweetwater, 6 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, and 5 runners left. As we'll go into the last half of the 5th, it is the 3rd baseman, O'Bergeon, will come up the plate. He'll be followed by Henry and then Bustamante, 5, 6, and 7 in the Lakeview lineup. O'Bergeon today, in his last at-bat, he walked and scored in the 4th, flied out the left in the 2nd, and flied out the center in the 1st. On the first pitch, he fouls that one back. 0-1 is the count, working against Thomas Hernandez, who came in the 4th inning. As for Lakeview, they scored 6 runs on 4 hits in that last half of the 4th to blow this game wide open. 0-1 is the count to O'Bergeon, and here is the 0-1 pitch. Slow curveball is upstairs and high, 1 ball and 1 strike. We're live from Lakeview Baseball Field on this Saturday afternoon. Glad that you're with us as the Chiefs are looking to snap their 4-game losing streak as the 1-1 pitch goes to the backstop at 2 balls and a strike. We are in the bottom half of the 5th. And folks, we are live streaming Central and Lakeview baseball games twice a week through the month of April. On Tuesday, March the 23rd, we'll have the broadcast of the Central Lady Cats softball game as they'll take on Permian at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So watch right here at 7 o'clock on ConchoSports.com on the Concho Sports Network. Here is the 2-1 pitch, which is driven into left field. It goes all the way to the corner. Rounding first is O'Bergeon, and he will go to second with a stand-up double to begin things here for Lakeview in the bottom half of the 5th. And for the Chiefs, that is now hit number 15 in the game. So O'Bergeon knocks that baseball into deep left field, into the left field corner, all the way to the 320 sign. This brings up Wyatt Henry for Lakeview. Henry in the game In his last at-bat, he had a RBI double in the fourth. In the third, he doubled to left and scored and walked, but was left stranded at first in the first inning. So in the game, Henry, he is 2 for 2 and scored a run. As for Lakeview now, here in this bottom half of the fifth, nobody out, runner on second. Here's the pitch as he squares up the bunt, which is high and inside for ball one. As for Lakeview, they have really poured it on here today in this Saturday afternoon game. And we are here with our producer and director, Shay Harris. Also like to say hello to the young scholars here from Lakeview High School there, Shay. They have done a great job here in working this game as for the first time, as a matter of fact, working the scoreboard. Here's the 1-0 pitch, which is grounded foul, wide of third, and it counts even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Would also like to thank Shay Harris for all of his hard work and help in bringing these broadcasts here on Concho Sports. Actually, it's been about a 2-year process for Mr. Harris as far as the equipment, the advertising, hiring the broadcasters and the production crew, and working with all the fine advertisers in the great city of San Angelo, Texas. So we'd like to thank Shay Harris for all of his hard work and help to bringing these broadcasts together. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's a breaking ball, low and inside, and the count now runs at 2 balls and a strike. Oberson is at second with a leadoff double into the left field corner, all the way to the 320 side. 320 in left and right fields down the lines, and 390 in straightaway center field. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fastball is up and in at the letters. No throw by Garcia as Oberson, as he scampers back to the second base bag, and the count's now running at 3 balls and a strike. Just underway in the last half of the fifth. As for Lakeview, they lead by a score of 14-6. Henry stands deep in the box, and here is the 3-1 pitch, which is lifted into left center field, and the running catch is made by Carr as he throws back to the second base bag. So Henry flies out to Carr in center field. What a good catch by Carr. Keep in mind, he is a second-team All-State wide receiver on the football team. As for Sweetwater, they have an outstanding football team. As we said earlier, they defeated Lakeview back in the fall at San Angelo Stadium. So we have 1 out here in the Lakeview fifth. 1 out, 1 on. This brings up the shortstop, Nicholas Bustamante. Bustamante today is 2 for 3 and scored twice. And his last at-bat, Bustamante hit a single to right field, stole and scored. Hit an RBI single in the third, stole twice, and popped out to the catcher in the first. So he is 2 for 3 today. First pitch is a ball. Lucas Murray waits on deck for Lakeview. As for the Chiefs, 14 runs on 15 hits for the Chiefs, 6 runs on 4 hits for Sweetwater. As Thomas Hernandez is on the hill, and here is the pitch as he lifts that one out of play behind the home plate screen, and the count's even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, since this is baseball season, my friends, I actually had a chance to read a book on baseball within the last week. It's an outstanding one. It's called Where's Harry? It was written in 1999 from Steve Stone. Steve Stone was the color analyst with Harry Carey. They worked together for many years on WGN, the superstation that carries the Chicago Cubs games. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's a breaking ball. It's a called strike to Bustamante. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count to the Lakeview shortstop in this last half of the fifth. That book is pretty much about the story of the relationship between Harry Carey and Steve Stone. The pair worked together from 1983 to 1997. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball is low and away, ball 2. They worked together until Carey's death in February of 1998. Some interesting tales about that book is that actually Harry Carey recommended Steve Stone for the job as the analyst for WGN. WGN stands for World's Greatest Newspaper. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, foul tip at the plate. As it's a foul, so now that keeps Bustamante alive, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carey, he wanted those WGN broadcasts to be entertaining for the fans in Chicago, such as providing cutaways to Lake Michigan, having the fans going after home run balls on Waveland Avenue. Waveland Avenue is the street right past left field at Wrigley Field, a beautiful area in Chicago. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Bustamante. And here is the 2-2 pitch, which is lifted into shallow the first base side as Fearson makes the catch there for out number 2. So Bustamante pops out the first. There's 2 outs in this Lakeview 5th, and this brings up Lucas Murray, the right fielder. Murray today, he is 1 for 2. He singled to right field and scored in the 4th. Walked, stole second, and scored in the 3rd, and grounded out the 1st in the 2nd. As for Lakeview, they lead by a count of 14-6. So Murray has scored twice today. He's had an outstanding game with a runner at second, Oberson, as he doubled to left. Now has the pitch line to the second baseman, Atkins, to retire the side. So for Lakeview in the 5th, no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left. At the end of 5 complete, our score, it's Lakeview 14 and Sweetwater 6. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
As a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football, I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We go into the top half of the 6th as the Chiefs, they have a commanding lead over Sweetwater, 14-6. And welcome back to the Lakeview Chiefs baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. And due up for the Mustangs in this 6th inning against Gary Cruz, it will be Darian Carr, the center fielder, Martinez and Holsey, 1, 2, 3, the top of the order for Sweetwater. Here's the first pitch, squaring up the bunt. It's in there for a call for a strike, as Carr did go around. 6 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, 5 runners left for Sweetwater. 14 runs on 15 hits, 4 errors, and 5 runners left for Lakeview. 0-1 is the count to Carr, and here is the pitch. Swing and a miss off the curveball. No balls and 2 strikes to Darian Carr. Carr today, he is 0 for 3. He bounced out to the second baseman back in the 4th, popped out to Bustamante at short in the 3rd, and struck out swinging in the 1st, so he's 0 for 3. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball is up and in at the letters, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, earlier we talked about the book, Where's Harry? Some interesting notes from that book is that, surprisingly, Harry Carey, he did not drink during his broadcast. Here's the 1-2 pitch, swinging a 1-hopper to Bustamante. High throw to first, and it's not in time. He goes to the dugout and bounces off the wall there. And now the runner is safe, so that's an error. Charge to the shortstop, Bustamante. So for Lakeview, that is error number 5 on the day. So Darian Carr is on first due to the error on that wild throw by the shortstop, Bustamante. This brings up Hector Martinez. Martinez is the left fielder. And in his last at-bat, he singled to left field in the 5th and scored. Here's the first pitch, is low and inside scoop from the dirt from ball 1. Martinez is 1 for 3, popped to the shortstop, Bustamante in the 1st, bounced to the second baseman, which was Cafran, back in the 3rd, and singled and scored in the 5th. 1 on, nobody out in the Sweetwater 6. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball is in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike gets the count to Martinez. Going back to Harry Carey, he did not drink during his broadcast due to popular opinion. He said it was all an act, as Steve Stone said it was all an act, as he promoted Budweiser. As you know, Budweiser was a major sponsor for WGN and the Chicago Cubs. 1 ball and 1 strike is to count to Martinez. There's the pitch that goes to the backstop, and advancing to second base is Darian Carr, and the count's now 2 balls and a strike. Stone stated that the reason that Harry Carey promoted Budweiser and also the drinking act is because that Harry Carey actually had stock in Budweiser, and he wanted to sell and promote the company to provide more financial revenue. Very smart move by the late great broadcaster Harry Carey. 2 balls and a strike is to count to Martinez. A high throw there by Cruz, and diving back to the bag is Carr. However, after his broadcast with WGN and the Cubs, for example, since the Cubs had many afternoon games, he would partake into town. A classic story was that whenever the Cubs would travel to New York City, he would always hang out with Yankee great Mickey Mantle. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that is low and inside for ball 3, and they would drink until the wee hours of the morning, and then Harry Carey would be right back into the broadcast booth the next day broadcasting Cubs baseball. And he wanted the broadcast to promote the younger players at the time, such as Greg Maddux and Mark Grace. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, and the count's full to Martinez. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner on second base. Darian Carr, top half of the 6th, nobody out. It's Lakeview 14 and Sweetwater 6. As Carr with a huge lead at second base. Gary Cruz is the pitcher. Here's the 3-2 pitch. A fastball is up and away for ball 4. So now in the 6th for Sweetwater. They have a runner on first and second. As for Gary Cruz, that is now walk number 2 allowed by him. This brings up Leo Holsey. Leo Holsey now playing in the designated hitter spot. Holsey, he lined to the shortstop in his last at-bat in the 5th, doubled and scored in the 4th, and reached base on an error in the 1st. So Holsey today is 1 for 3, and with a run scored. Here's the first pitch, and he did swing around on that high inside fastball up the letters for strike 1. Harry Carey actually received a baseball scholarship to play baseball at the University of Alabama, but he could not afford to make the trip, so he decided to embark on a broadcasting career, and what a career it was. Here's the 0-1 pitch, foul tip into the catcher's mitt, Peanut, and it's now no balls and 2 strikes. As Harry Carey was the voice of the Cardinals from 1945 to 1969, then spent 1 season with the Oakland A's in 1970. Here's the 0-2 pitch chopper to the second baseman, and a quick throw over to first is wild, and the runner comes in to score. So Carr scores, and that is another error on the second baseman. That is Chapa, as that is now error number 6 for Lakeview, and the run scores, and it's now 14-7 as the run scores. So now with a runner at first base, which is Holsey, Martinez scores all the way from first base due to the error. So error on the second baseman. That's the error on Chapa as a run scores, and it's 14-7 our score. And Thompson is at the plate. 1-0 is the count. Thompson, he reached base on an error in the 5th and scored. Popped to Bustamante, the shortstop, in the 4th, and reached base on a fielder's choice in the 1st. So he has 1 for 3 and a run. Thompson, as he takes that 1-0 pitch, it's now low and inside ball 2. So for Sweetwater, they've scored 2 runs in this top of the 6th, 2 runs on 2 errors and a walk. So it's been a little bit sloppy here in this top half of the 6th. Here's a 2-0 pitch. A breaking ball's in there for a called strike. 2 balls and a strike to Thompson. As Gomez, the shortstop, waits on deck for Sweetwater. 14-7 is our score. 7 runs on 4 hits, 1 error for Sweetwater. 14 runs, 15 hits, 6 errors for Lakeview. And on the 2-1 pitch, he did go around. 2 balls and 2 strikes is to count to Thompson. After that one season of Harry Carey broadcasting for Oakland in 1970, from 1971 to 1981, he was voice of the White Sox on local Chicago television. Here's the 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss as Thompson strikes out swinging. And that is the second strikeout in the game for Gary Cruz. And now that is out number 1 for Sweetwater in this top half of the 6th. So now with 1 out, runner at first base. This brings up Gomez, the shortstop. Gomez has scored twice. He walked and scored in the 5th, reached on the fielder's choice in the 4th and scored, and walked in the 2nd. Gomez, shortstop, is a right-handed batter. 14-7 is our score, more like a football score here today. 6 errors against the Lakeview defense. Here is the 1-0 pitch, which is low and outside. Ball 2 is the count to Gomez with a runner, which is Holsey at first base. Holsey struggled as the pitcher today, but is a good athlete. Outstanding quarterback on the football team. 2 balls and no strikes is the count. A quick throw over to first, which gets past the first baseman high, down the first base line, and advancing to second base is Holsey. Kind of surprised why the Lakeview pitchers are concentrating so much on the runners with this huge lead. But nonetheless, Holsey's at second base. 2-0 is the count to Gomez. Here in this top half of the 6th, 1 out, runner in scoring position. As Gomez wiggles the bat over his shoulder. He has scored 2 runs in the game. Another throw, a high throw, and back on the bag is Holsey, dives back on his hands and knees. Exactly. I'm very surprised why the Lakeview pitchers are concentrating so much on the runners on base with the huge lead. I understand if it was a 1 or 2 run lead, but it's 14-7. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Gomez, which is low and inside, and now the count now runs. 3 balls and no strikes as Jake McCoy, the right fielder, waits on deck. Then for Harry Carey, he really reached national prominence when he became the broadcaster for the Cubs in that 1982 season. The voice of the Cubs from 82 to 97. Here's the 3-0 pitch, is a called strike down the heart of the plate. Very interesting tidbits about Carey is that he brought fishing nets into the broadcast booth to catch fly balls, and he did catch some on time to time. And also is most famous with his Take Me Out to the Ball Game, his 7th inning stretch singing. Ground ball to first at high, taps the bag in front of Gomez in time for the out. 3 unassisted as Holsey advances to third base. So we have now 2 outs and the top half of the 6th with 2 runs in. A runner at third base, which is Holsey. This brings up Jake McCoy, the right fielder. That's 3 outs. Okay, 3 outs there. Okay, thank you, Shay. So we have 3 outs. So in the Sweetwater 6th, 2 runs on a total of no hits, 2 errors, and the runner was left stranded. As we go into the bottom half of the 6th, our score, it is Lakeview 14 and Sweetwater 7. We'll pause for a quick break. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex, 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. As we'll go into the last half of the 6th, as for the Chiefs, leading by 7 runs by a score of 14-7. 14 runs on 15 hits, 6 errors, 5 runners left for Lakeview. And for Sweetwater, 7 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, and 6 runners left. Rarely you'll see a game in which a team would commit 6 errors in a game and leading by 7 runs. And that's what we have here today, my friends. As for Lakeview, they have a record of 3-8-1 and are searching to snap their 4-game losing skid, but they are in great shape here as they lead by 7 to begin things here in this top half of the. Now we go into the bottom half of the 6 as we try to stand up, as trying to get a note here from Shea Harris to stand up here after being down, sitting down for quite a bit. So the first pitch is a breaking ball low and outside to Brandon Herrera for ball 1. As Herrera will be followed by Chapa and then Cafron, 9-1-2 in the Lakeview lineup, working against Thomas Hernandez as Herrera has a pop set out of play, and the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Perhaps one of the wilder games we've had a chance to broadcast perhaps all year there, Shay, when you figure all the football games, the basketball games, and the baseball games we have been able to cover in the San Angelo area ever since late August. Starting actually with Lakeview Chiefs football. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A breaking ball is in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Herrera. 320 down the left and the right field lines, and 309 in straightaway center field. As Thomas Hernandez has been on the hill since the 4th inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss as Herrera strikes out. As for Thomas Hernandez, as he records his first strikeout of the game. So we have 1 out. Bases clean for Lakeview in the 6th for Jacob Chapa. Chapa, he has been, as we said, the player of the game. He has scored 4 runs. He is 4 for 4 in this game today. And there is the first pitch. And that's a breaking ball in there for a called strike. As Chapa in today's game, for example, in the first, singled to left, stole second, and scored in the first. In the second, hit an RBI triple to right and scored. Here is the 0-1 pitch. It's a slow looper, which is high and away, ball 1. And the third, he hit an RBI single, stole, and Salgado scored for him. And in the fourth, he hit a single up the middle, RBI single, and scored in the 4th. So he scored 3 runs. Salgado scored that other run in the 3rd. As Jacob Chapa, once again, as we said earlier, star player on the football team. 2 balls and a strike is the count to Chapa. We have 1 out, bases clean here in this last half of the 6th. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that is a breaking ball, which 1 hops in front of the plate, 3 balls and a strike as Cafron waits on deck. Well, we haven't had a chance to do this yet today, but since this is March 20th, famous baseball players who wore jersey number 20 is none other than Mike Schmidt. Here is the 3-1 pitch, and that is low for ball 4, and that is a walk, a 1-out walk. That is the second walk issued by Thomas Hernandez. And now this brings up Joseph Cafron here with 1 out here in the 6th. Well, while we have a moment, let's talk about Mike Schmidt. He wore jersey number 20 since this is March 20th. As Schmidt played for the Philadelphia Phillies, the longtime third baseman. He played 18 seasons for the Phillies from 1972 to 1989 and is a 12-time All-Star. Schmidt was a 3-time winner of the Most Valuable Player Award in 1980, 1981, and also in 1986. And in his illustrious career, he hit 548 home runs and had 1,595 RBIs in his great career. Looks like there will be a new pitcher on the hill for Sweetwater as Seth Garcia is now warming up. So as Garcia will be on the hill for Sweetwater. Talking about Mike Schmidt, he was elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1995, and he is considered one of the greatest third basemen of all time. Schmidt was a great athlete. Pete Rose, of course, baseball's all-time hit king, he was quoted as saying that, quote, he said to have his body, to have Mike Schmidt's body, he said he'll trade him he'll trade him his and his wife's body, and he'll throw in some extra cash just to have Mike Schmidt's body. Because Pete Rose, he played with Schmidt from 1979 to 1983. And, of course, the duo, they won the World Series together in 1980 as the Philadelphia Phillies defeated the Kansas City Royals 4-2. And, of course, the Royals were led by George Brett, as Philadelphia were led by Dallas Green that season in that 1980 campaign, as the Phillies finished 91-71 that season. As Schmidt, he led the National League in home runs 8 times in his great career. His best season was actually in 1980 when Philadelphia captured the World Series. He had 48 home runs and blasted 121 RBIs. And how about this? In 1986, at the age of 36, he won his 3rd MVP award. So here now is Joseph Coffrin. Coffrin, the second baseman for Lakeview, with a runner out on first base here in this last half of the 6th. Another throw over to first, and the runner's back. So Garcia is the pitcher for the Sweetwater Mustangs, as Coffron in his last at-bat reached base on an error and scored in the 4th. Here's the first pitch, and that is high and upstairs, actually high and inside for ball 1. We are in the last half of the 6th. Our score, Lakeview 14 and Sweetwater 7. A wild game here today. Here from Lakeview High School. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swinging a chopper foul, wide of third, a ball and a strike. Mike Schmidt, when he won his 3rd MVP award in 1986, he led the National League with 37 home runs and 119 RBIs with a .547 slugging percentage. Michael Jack Schmidt, who wore jersey number 20 on this March 20th in honor of him in baseball. Here's the 1-1 pitch, which is foul tip at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. For Lakeview, 14 runs on 15 hits, 6 errors. They've left 5 stranded. And for Sweetwater, they have 7 runs today on 4 hits, 1 error, and have left 6 runners stranded. Wild game from the outset. Here from Lakeview. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and a quick throw down to first, and the runner choppers back. So Coffron strikes out. Coffron, he strikes out for the 2nd time today. So we have 2 outs here in the Lakeview 6, and this brings up Cade Henry. Cade Henry, in his last at-bat, he singled to right field, RBI single to right field. As Cade Henry, he walked and scored in the 1st. And on the first pitch, it's a ground ball to the shortstop, gets past Gomez, and the runner is safe. So consider that a hit. Should be a hit there for Henry, as now Chappa's safe at second base. So Henry, give him a hit. That's hit number 16 in the game for Lakeview. So a 2-out single. Runners at first and second. This brings up Cody High. Cody High, he is 2 for 4 today. Single to right in the 1st. RBI single down the 3rd baseline in the 2nd. Cody High is a right-handed batter here in the last half of the 6th. Here's the pitch, swinging a high pop fly into shallow left field, but the shortstop is there as Gomez makes the catch to retire the side. So for Lakeview in the 6th, no runs on 1 hit, 2 runners left. At the end of 6 complete, our score, Lakeview 14, Sweetwater 7. We'll pause for a quick break. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo, our
Welcome back to Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union, as we'll head into the top half of the seventh, so the last chance for Sweetwater. But the new pitcher in for Lakeview is Wyatt Henry, as Henry is on the hill for the Chiefs as he will try to shut it down here for his Chiefs as they lead by a score of 14-7. 14 runs on 16 hits and 6 errors for Lakeview. Meanwhile, for Sweetwater, 7 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, and 6 runners left. This now brings up McCoy, the right fielder, on the first pitch as he pops that out of play behind home plate for strike one. As for McCoy today, he is 1 for 2, lined out to the shortstop in the second, hit an RBI triple to left field in the fourth and scored. Walked, but was left stranded at third base. Here is the 0-1 pitch, is in there for a called strike. No balls and 2 strikes is the count to Jake McCoy. McCoy be followed by Fearson and then Garcia. 6, 7, and 8 in the Sweetwater lineup. Here's the 0-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball to Bustamante. Gets past his glove, and that is an error for Bustamante. So for Jake McCoy, he reaches base on air, and that is error number 7, the 7th error of the game by Lakeview. So McCoy is on, and Fearson is now the batter. He is 0 for 3 today. He is a left-handed batter here in this top half of the 7th. Nobody out. Foul back behind home plate over the screen for strike one. As for Bustamante, he committed an error moments ago. So for Lakeview, 7 errors in the game. Unbelievable. 14 runs, 16 hits, and 7 errors. And it's very unusual for a team to commit 7 errors and to win the game, but also lead by 7 runs. 0-1 is the count to the Sweetwater first baseman, and now it's lined into shallow left center field for a base hit. As for Sweetwater, now that is hit number 5 in this game. So Fearson, as he lines a single in the shallow left center field. So here now is Seth Garcia. Garcia, the catcher. In today's game, he is 1 for 2. He struck out swinging in the third, singled to left in the fourth, walked but was left stranded at first in the fifth. So Garcia is the catcher as he comes up to the plate as he fouls that to the screen. Strike one. We are in the top half of the 7th. It's Lakeview 14 and Sweetwater 7. A rather unusual game, a game in which we've had a total of 8 errors. Here is the 0-1 pitch. A breaking ball is low and inside, and it's now 1 ball and 1 strike. As we now approach 2:35 Central Standard Time. Game is a little bit long for a 7-hour game, the game that we had on Tuesday. lasted roughly 1 hour and 50 minutes, the Central game. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A fastball is up and in. The count's now 2 balls and a strike. 320 down the left and the right field lines and 390 in straightaway center field. As for the Chiefs, they're trying to wrap things up here in this top half of the 7th inning. But for Sweetwater, they have runners on first and second and nobody out. Here's a quick throw over to second, and the runner dives back. That's McCoy. And as Shea Harris alluded to earlier, why are the Lakeview pitchers concentrating so much on the runners when you have such a big lead? 2 balls and a strike is the count to Seth Garcia. Runners on first and second, nobody out. Here's the 2-1 pitch, which gets past Peanut, and the runners advance. Now going to third base is McCoy, and advancing down the trail at second is Fearson. So runners at second and third. Here with 3 balls and a strike is the count to Garcia. Nobody out, so don't go away yet. This game is not over. For Sweetwater, they could still pull out a rally here, trailing by a count of 14-7. Here's Garcia at the plate on this 3-1 count, working against Wyatt Henry. And now time is called as Henry steps off the rubber. Nobody out here in this top half of the 7th. As for Lakeview, leading by 7. Here is the 3-1 pitch. A fastball is low and inside for ball 4. And now the bases are loaded. Here now is Atkins. Atkins is the second baseman. As Atkins today, he walked into third and reached base on an error in the 4th. So now here comes head coach Bueno talking to his infielders and also his pitcher Wyatt Henry. And while we have a moment there, my friends, I'd like to talk about what happened on this day in baseball history, since this is March the 20th, actually back in 1973. 48 years ago, my friends, before Shea Harris was born, in an exhibition game in Puerto Rico, Willie Mays, subbing for manager Yogi Berra, led the Mets to an 8-3 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mays is now 89 years young. He will turn 90 in May. He had a Hall of Fame career from 1951 to 1973 and is considered one of the greatest center fielders of all time. So that happened 48 years ago. Here now is Brendan Atkins, the second baseman. And now here's the first pitch on, and it's full. The bases are loaded, and that's fouled out of play behind home plate for strike 1. As Mays, he cranked out 660 home runs and 1,903 RBIs in his great career with a .302 career batting average. Here's the 0-1 pitch, a breaking ball's in there for a called strike on the inside edge at the knees, no balls and 2 strikes. As Mays, he played for the New York Giants and also for the San Francisco Giants and finished his career with the Mets. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That is grounded right to the first baseman high. He steps on the third base bag for the out, but 1 run comes in as McCoy scores from third and Atkins grounds out to high at first, 3 unassisted as Fearson advances to third and Garcia goes to second. So a run is in. It's now 14-8, our score, with 1 out here in the top half of the 7th. This now brings up Carr, the center fielder. As Carr, he has 1 for 4. He reached base on an error and scored in the 6th, and the first pitch is in there for a strike. As Willie Mays, he had so many great moments in his illustrious career, as we said, one of the greatest center fielders of all time. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swinging a foul back to the screen, no balls and 2 strikes. Perhaps one of the greatest catches of all time, baseball catches, occurred back in that 1954 World Series. When Mays, he made an over-the-shoulder catch deep into against the center field wall against the Cleveland Indians in Game 1 of the 1954 World Series. Here's the 0-2 pitch, fouled back to the screen, no balls and 2 strikes. Leo DeRocher was the manager for the New York Giants that season in 1954. That season, Mays, he batted .345. He won the MVP award with 41 home runs and had 110 RBIs. Here's the 0-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball to Bustamante at short, throws over to first, and he is out on the play, and the runner scores. Ground out to the shortstop. It's now 14-9 as Fearson scores from third, and advancing from second to third is Garcia. So we now have 2 outs here in the Sweetwater 7th. A run is in for Martinez, the left fielder. Martinez, he has scored twice. He walked and scored in his last at-bat in the 6th, singled to shallow left and scored in the 5th. So in the game, he is 1 for 3 and scored 2 runs. With the runner at third, 2 outs in the top half of the 7th. Sweetwater, they're down to their final out. They trail 14-8. Here's the first pitch. A fastball is up and in, ball 1. Martinez also popped to the shortstop in the 1st and bounced to the second baseman in the 3rd. He scored in the 5th and the 6th. So for Sweetwater in this 7th inning, they've scored 2 more runs. Here's the 1-0 pitch, goes to the backstop. Garcia will score from third base, and it's now 14-10. So for Sweetwater, after a rather sluggish start, they've scored 2 runs in the 4th, 3 runs in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and now 3 here in the 7th to make it very interesting. It's now 14-10. 2 balls and no strikes is the count to Martinez. The bases are now clean. Here is the pitch. A breaking ball is a called strike at the outside edge to Martinez. It's 2 balls and a strike. So for Sweetwater in the 7th, they have scored 3 runs and have been helped by an error. Here is the 3-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball to Chapa at second. Throws over to first, and that is in time for the out, and the game is over. But for Sweetwater in the 7th, they score 3 runs and were helped by 1 Lakeview error and no runners left. So our final score is that Lakeview, they snapped their losing streak. They snapped their 4-game losing streak as they win, defeating Sweetwater by a final score of 14-10. And for the Chiefs, they improved to 4-8-1 on the season. And for Sweetwater, they dropped to 4-11 on the season. So we'll take a short break and we'll come back to wrap it up. This is Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union.
Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
We all want to get back to the way things used to be. Going to concerts, cheering for our teams in a packed stadium, dancing the night away with our friends. But if we truly want things to go back to the way they were, we need everyone to come together. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Together, we can beat this. Together, we'll get back to the way things used to be.
Football fans, stop by Wingstop in Southwest Plaza before or after the game. We have the best wings in town and offer curbside pickup and delivery. So stop by Friday night and celebrate with Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road.
Best Tech Supply is a proud sponsor of Concho Valley Football. I invite you to stop by our new location at 4512 Adobe Drive for all your herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, and outdoor power equipment needs. Bestex also carries a large selection of Green Mountain grills and K2 coolers for all your tailgating events. For knowledgeable advice of your lawn and landscaping, as well as service of your outdoor power equipment long after the sale, call us here at Bestex 653-1300.
For a healthy lawn and landscape, visit Best Tech Supply or besttech.com.
Angelo RO Express is San Angelo's local affordable drinking water choice. Water plays a vital role in our daily life, and having the best drinking water for your family is important. Rent a quality reverse osmosis system starting at $28.50 a month with a free local standard installation. So why overpay for something you can get right here for less?
Call my Uncle Larry.
You heard the girl. Call Angelo Oro Express at 325-277-8611 for affordable drinking water.
Welcome back to Lakeview Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. Our final score as the Lakeview Chiefs in a wild one as they defeat Sweetwater by a final count of 14-10. And for Lakeview, they improved to 4-8-1 on the season and 1-2 in district play. As for Sweetwater with the loss, they dropped to 4-11-1 on the season and 1-2 in district play. So for Lakeview, 14 runs on 16 hits, 7 errors and 5 runners left. And for Sweetwater, 10 runs on 5 hits, 1 error and 6 runners left. And we have the individual numbers here for you for Lakeview as they go on with the win, as they snap their 4-game losing skid. As Jacob Chappa, star player of the game, as he finished 4-4 and scored 3 runs in today's contest. Kafran, the second baseman, he was 0 for 5 with a run in the game. Cade Henry was 3 for 3 and scored a run. Cody High was 2 for 5. Obergon was 1 for 3 in a run. Wyatt Henry was 2 for 3 and scored a run. Bustamante was 2 for 4 and scored 2 runs. Lucas Murray was 1 for 2 in a run. Brandon Herrera finished 2 for 4 and scored 2 runs in the game. As for Lakeview, they go on with a big 14-10 victory. 14 runs on 16 hits, 7 errors, and 5 runners left for the Chiefs. And for Sweetwater, 10 runs on 5 hits, 1 error, and 6 runners left in the game, which took 2 hours and 42 minutes. This is a reminder that we are live streaming Central and Lakeview baseball and softball twice a week through April. On Tuesday, March the 23rd, we will have the Central Lady Cats softball game against Permian. So watch this Tuesday at 7 o'clock right here on ConchoSports.com, the Concho Sports Network, Roku, and the Fire TV apps, YouTube, and Facebook. So once again, our final score from Lakeview High School from the Lakeview baseball field as the Chiefs, as they snap their 4-game losing skid as they defeat Sweetwater in a wild game by a final count of 14-10. And for Lakeview, 14 runs on 16 hits, 7 errors in the game, but they win and they leave 5 stranded. And for Sweetwater, 10 runs on 5 hits, 1 error, and 6 runners left. So thank you for watching, and have a great day, everyone. This has been Lakeview Chiefs Baseball on Concho Sports Network, presented by First Community Federal Credit Union. Good day, everyone.